Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. I am joined as ever by Simon Miller.
Well, not as ever. I wasn't here last week. Well, hello, how's it going?
Usually you're
Pedant,
here, right?
Pedant, yeah.
Pedamania.
Pedant Simon Miller.
Yeah.
Also joined by pedant and asshole Steve Burns.
I thought you were going to say Tom Murray there, but
I'm offended. How dare you come at me?
And editor-in-chief Tom Murray.
Thomas, sorry.
Thomas, sorry.
Tom Murray was
I'd like a name I could extend.
There was a ruined take of this earlier where I introduced myself as Jamie. And
you've all got it.
Immediately,
Stephen,
yeah.
Jamie, Thomas. Can't do nothing with my name.
No.
Be
Fucking
Simon.
screwed.
which means you're always in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Call
True
you
fact.
Sim.
No one calls me Simon. Everyone calls me Miller.
People call you Cy? Do you not like it?
No, I don't. I mean, I sign all my emails off with Cy.
Yeah.
Just 'cause it's quicker. But no one calls me Simon or Cy. Everyone calls me Miller.
How much time do you
In
save?
an email?
Yeah.
It's only pressing like three
No.
buttons.
My life's like this, man. Non-stop. Got to keep going. But everyone calls me Miller. Everyone. Since I was about 13 years old, even in school, teachers, everyone's always called me Miller. It's never changed. But I'm fine with it, though. You can call me whatever you want. Asshole, dickhead, prickface. Fuck it. It's all good.
What teachers used to call you Miller?
All of them.
Actually, that makes sense. That's a thing.
I think I've told this before, but one student, for lack of a better term, came up to me once and said, "So Miller, what's your last name?" I was like, "Oh, you're not going to go far in life, are you?" So,
Was it David Cameron?
exactly.
Was it Boris Johnson?
No, my school wasn't that good.
Simon Miller went to Eton. Is that what you're trying?
No, Simon Miller went to
Hey.
school where he got chased by nunchucks.
Mate.
But again,
Yeah,
that's not for today.
That's what they do there.
Nunchucks.
It's the only place where nunchucks aren't banned.
Yeah, it's probably true. Whatever you want,
their dads banned them.
Yeah,
but-
exactly.
But not for their sons.
Oh yeah, they've got like parlour games where they rap nunchucks off each other's bollocks or something, haven't they?
Yeah, I heard
It's
that.
bound to be
I
a
heard
thing,
that,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. I'm excited.
Right. Anyway, we've got stuff to talk about. Firstly, Miller, because we want to get.
Let's start with this.
We
Oh, it's
wanna-
going to annoy so many people.
We want to get this out of the way, though, don't we? Because people are going to complain.
So let's start with it and throw it in their face.
Supposed to be a gaming podcast.
No, I don't want to talk. Jim asked me earlier. He said, "What do you want to talk about?" And I said, "I want to talk about WrestleMania."
Yeah.
So,
but Simon thought I was asking in general. Like,
so I'm going to talk about WrestleMania, the NES game, but I'm not really. I just
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I realised this when I was on my way to the podcast studio. Like, some people may not have seen WrestleMania, and it would be greatly unfair if they tuned into a video game podcast to get spoilers about WrestleMania, because a wrestling podcast, somewhat ironically, did that with me. I was listening to it and they just spoiled Gotham for me. I was like, that's such an asshole thing to do, because I don't expect to tune into a wrestling podcast to hear about Gotham. But what I do want to say is I think WrestleMania was a very good show with a couple of terrible winners. That's
Yeah.
all I say, I've decided, because otherwise it's really unfair.
Much like the GMAs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's not a good show. But I
Doesn't
was
have a
the
Nazi
GMAs
Terminator.
is the opposite.
it was a really entertaining. It was a really entertaining show. But yeah, a couple of the people that came out on top, I just thought was just ludicrous booking and not looking forward at all, and just building people up to then lose to the wrong guys. But I thought it was a great show. If you do want to hear me rant about wrestling, I'll probably do a podcast on my own time or something.
Fuck my
that way,
life.
I don't want to
cross promotion.
I'm just saying, like, 'cause it's not that's a tease. I don't want it to be like, oh, Miller was going to talk, then he stopped. At the same time, I don't want to spoil it.
We've got to do our
I'm trying
wrestling podcast as
Yeah,
well.
we'll do it. Well, now's the time. I want to start talking about wrestling again. So
Me too.
But it's a good show. As I said to you, the only other thing I've been playing is Counter Spy, and no one cares about Counter Spy. It's old, and it came out on PS Plus. It's really good. If not, you really like it, don't you, Jim?
I love Counter Spy.
My problem with
Brilliant.
it runs out of steam for me too quickly, unless that's how you're supposed to play it. I don't ever want to play it for more than, say, 20, 25 minutes at a time, do a couple of levels and...
Yeah.
But I think the idea is great. I think the execution's great. I think it's really... that's such a dickhead, but it's fun. Do you know what I mean? It's a really fun game. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, but it's still... the mechanics still hold up.
I love Counter Spy because it's a really simple game. And it feels like it could have worked in the 16-bit era, like, easily.
I totally agree.
But it's got it's got just enough sort of depth that you feel like it's a much bigger game than it is. If that makes any sense.
I think the whole shooting in 2D, but then having the cover in 3D stuff.
Yeah.
Just adds a nice kind of mechanic to it. I think it's a great PS Plus game. And that the joy of PS Plus just continues to roll on for me. But like I said, there's not much to say about it other than that.
Yeah,
it's a really solid kind of, I call it an indie game for lack of a better term, but that term's getting less and less relevant by the days.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice small game that, I think I enjoyed and playing, and it's pretty good. Actually, I lie, just quickly, as we're here, then we get on to more relevant stuff. But I went back to Dragon Age Inquisition. I wasn't on the podcast last week, but a couple of days before it. And I just think that game is bad. Like, I've come to the conclusion now, it's not a disappointment, it's bad.
2-time Game of the Year winner on VideoGamer.com.
Well, that's fine. that's fine. Look, again, I'm not being negative for the sake of negative, and I know lots of people like that, and that's great. But for me, it's just not a Dragon Age game. It's an MMO. Like, it is an MMO. Like, this whole... I know you get the bit once you pass the Inquisition, or the Inquisition starts, or at least you get past that an open bit, and it does become more of a Dragon Age game. But it continues to revert back into this, be a postman, be a farm worker kind of thing. Go and do these menial tasks. I just think the story is too convoluted. I think the relationships you develop aren't as interesting as the ones... All the best relationships for that games are the conclusions to ones you've made in the 2 previous games. I don't think there's any real strong story threads in there that get me. And it is a really good game. And technically, it's very good. And everything they put together to create this huge universe is great. But it just doesn't grab me. And I always find myself, I'm making myself play it. I'm never actually drawn into the experience. I'm never convinced to keep playing. I've got to put more time in because I want to see what happens here. It's Dragon Age.
Yeah.
I like Dragon Age. Therefore... I'm going to keep going forward and just hoping that I get somewhere that I enjoy. And I'm so many hours into it now, and that never happens. It never happens. I think the combat is poor. I think, the difficulty spikes that happen when you're least expecting it, just mind-bogglingly frustrating because, I understand it's got to be leveled, but when you've just done, a mission less than on the map, sort of not in scale, sort of 2 centimeters away from there, and it's like 1,000 times harder. It's like, well, now I don't know what order you want me to do this shit in. And I guess a lot of people like that because they're like, well, that's good because it makes it realistic and stuff. For me, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
So I went back to that. I'm done now, though. I'm retiring from Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't think I'll play whatever the next Dragon Age game is.
That's a shocker, Miller. That's like you retiring from wrestling or being massive.
But I just... Oh, man, terrifying. To me, it's just steered so far away from what I always wanted the Dragon Age franchise to be that... Yeah, then the next one that ever comes out won't be... I'll wait to see what other people say about it and stuff, but if this is the direction, it's not for me. And it's really disappointing as well. Like, I'm not saying that to sort of rile anybody up. I'm not saying it because it's fun to say shit things about games. It really is one of those occasions where I'm like...
How many hours do you put into it?
35, if not a few more.
Oh, man. No, like, finding that you're not getting on with a game after 35 hours, that's just heartbreaking.
Well, the reason I kept going through it is literally because it's Dragon Age. Do you know what I mean? Anything else I would have given up a lot longer, but I thought there's got to be something here. I love the first game so much, and I'm fond of the second one, although I think that was a bit out there as well. But yeah, I'll never truly understand why they decided to go in this direction. But as Tom said, I'm obviously in the minority. A lot of people love it. A lot of people think it was the right move to make. So
I agree with you to an extent, though. I really like Inquisition for its good bits, and I think it's got some like standout sequences, like when you're in the Orlesian court and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is good. I enjoyed that bit.
Like there's certain set pieces that I really like. But it is too full of MMO bullshit to pad it out. There's no question.
It's too padded, and it doesn't need to be padded. Like, I just don't understand why they felt the need to do that. I don't know whether that's kind of this is the logical next evolution of this because it's an RPG, but it's not. Like
it's like they're they can slap fucking 200 hours or whatever on the box, and it's a 200-hour game, but 150 of those hours are looking for fucking rat tails or whatever.
Fucked it.
Right.
So that's.
Miller, I can't believe you. Honestly, that's.
Yeah,
that's
honestly,
you,
like.
I was going to sort of defend it a little bit. Not that it needs defending or anything, but then I realised I haven't played it since Christmas.
Yeah,
I just haven't got back to it.
And Origins was, it was like a drug to me. Everyone was excited about going home and playing it. And even 2 had its flaws, but 2 had there's something about 2. It's fun. Again, I wanted to see where shit was going to go, but I just don't get it here. 2
is like a really bad Dragon Age game. But there's something about it.
Yeah, it's a good RPG.
It's actually a really funny game as well. Yeah. It's got lots of humour in it.
Doesn't take itself serious. That's the other thing. I feel this takes itself really seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily needed to. But I know a lot of people are still playing it. A lot of people are still loving it. A lot of good scores.
I'm about 40 hours in, and I've not pumped anybody yet. So it's obviously
no, I haven't either.
It's obviously the most serious one.
Yeah.
It's like by that point in Dragon Age 2, you just had everyone like.
That is true.
So
all right. Well, look, I'm running out of battery. So shall we put this thing on?
Do it.
Yeah.
Should we do it?
We're gonna Periscope. We've been getting slowly fascinated with Periscope, and my most successful Periscope session to date, unfortunately, the archive cocked up, so nobody can watch it ever again.
Oh man.
I was just lying in bed, and I was like, right, I'm going to get the Train Spotting script up and read it in the JML voice.
It's initializing apparently.
That Begbie story about him playing pool in the JML voice.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it.
The video stream is not working.
Are you sad about Zelda, Miller, or not?
Being delayed in 2016. I am, because I don't really know what I'm going to play at the end of this year at the moment. There's no games. They've got plenty to be announced and stuff. But I got my summer covered. I've got my summer covered with God of War 4. 3, sorry.
I thought you said I got my son a cupboard.
I got my fake son a cupboard and put him in it. No, because I know a lot of people don't like remasters. I love that game. I'm more than happy to play it again on PS4. But the end of the year was Zelda for me. But again, it comes down to the whole thing that a lot of people didn't like Skyward Sword. I liked it, but that did feel like they made it to get it out at the end of a specific time. I think this game needs to be different to a certain extent, and given how ambitious it looks, it needs to make sure it lives up to it. So if we have to wait till, it depends when in 2016. If they have the balls to release it's kind of March time, that's fine. If it's going to be November 2016, then that
on a new console.
Yeah, well they've done it before, so they could arguably do it again, especially with the announcement that came out last week. So. Or 2 weeks ago. It's disappointing, but it all depends about when it gets, its new release date.
Yeah.
But no, I'm still excited about it. I'd much rather play a Zelda game that felt like, not Ocarina of Time in the sense of the way it plays, but kind of that much gravitas, than play a game that you go, man, why they released this? It's not done. So, it's weird because, I'm going to say this and I'm getting it wrong. Did Nintendo delay many games?
They delay Zelda games quite often.
It's just Zelda, isn't it? That's the game they delay
some
most.
of them haven't been, but what's it? The first GameCube one. Or the
Twilight Princess was ridiculous.
No, the Wii one, sorry, which was meant to be the second GameCube one, was massively delayed, wasn't it? But
that was Twilight Princess, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I said first. It was
sorry. Yeah, it was. That was the ridiculous, and it became a crossover game and stuff. So, it's a little disappointing, but I'm happy to wait. But it does mean, what the hell do I play on my Wii U? Mario Kart, I guess. Keep playing Mario Kart. Game
Star
keeps
Fox.
on giving.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Let's say Star Fox comes at end of the year. November, Star Fox comes out.
Right.
That means there's no way Zelda's coming out to the year after, because they don't need to. They'll be like, we just gave you a big first party game, so they're not going to release that. And then Nintendo don't do that. Yeah. 4 months later, you're not going to get Zelda, and that will suck. If we're talking December, I think you're right.
Nintendo run their company like people run a YouTube channel.
We run a YouTube channel.
We're not putting out two things at once. What the fuck?
It's because YouTube fucks it. But yeah, I think but then it will come out a new console, and that sucks, because then you've got another flipping Nintendo console that doesn't have Zelda on it, and that to some people may not mean anything, but to me that's one of the reasons I invest my money into a Nintendo console, for better or for worse, because I know I'll get Zelda experience.
Yeah.
And so that's something, we have Mario Kart, we've had Mario, we'll have Star Fox, we need
It'll be on
Zelda.
both, won't it? If it's on the next one, I think at worst it'll be on, I think they piss off too many people not to have it on the Wii U. Like, it'll be like either it's only Wii U and the other things.
But it won't feel as special. It'd be like, why aren't you spending time working on another new Zelda game for that? Launch with a flipping new Zelda game for once. Every Nintendo console, I've said this before, every Nintendo console should launch with new Mario, new Zelda. Fuck it, everyone go nuts. Yeah. Everyone go nuts. That's 2 launch games. You can't compete with that.
I've found on Twitter that one of the best ways to troll...
It's done. It's not working.
Is it not?
It's
not Periscope
working.
Not working?
It's not. Periscope is down. The Periscope
we can try later.
Is
Periscope
down.
itself is down. It must be, right?
Yeah. For some reason, it's just
try again.
It's just cocking up, innit?
Yeah. I've discovered that the best way to troll Zelda fans is also the best way to troll Souls and Bloodborne fans. Or when they start going on about their game, just be like, it's not fucking Skyrim, is it? Calm down. I've gotten so many death threats off PJ for that.
Something special about Zelda, though.
PJ's a guy we know who's violent. Right. So you're sort of are you preparing yourself for a summer of
God of War 3,
a summer drought then, or
no? God of War 3.
Miller?
Yeah, Batman and God of War 3 get me through the summer. Easy. Right. June Batman, which I'll have to have done in a day, like I did with Arkham City, and then straight into God of War 3.
I tell you what, I totally agree with you about Dragon Age Origins, like that feeling of like when you're away from it, you're just thinking about getting back to it.
It's a great game.
That was that game for me at that time as well. I had the same thing with Mass Effect. But you know what? Pillars of Eternity. I'm not going to go into it again. I don't want to dedicate another like half hour of content to. But Pillars of Eternity is that game for me right now.
Yeah.
Like when I'm away.
I get
from
that
it,
from what I've read and stuff. Yeah.
when I'm away from it. Just I think you'd like it, Miller. I think genuinely, I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I do like Obsidian and I like that kind of game. I may toy around with it and see where I get to, see how I feel.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is done now, so new focus. I just brought it full circle.
I certainly think
full
you'll be
circle.
much less of a penis about it than Burns has been. So,
Hey man, a lot of people agreed with me.
Talking of Burns, you wanted to talk about Bloodborne again because you've actually played it now.
Well, I had played it before. In fact, I played it before all you fucks.
In fact, what's the point then?
But I think now,
Bloodborne.
well, now that everyone's got it, and not just the games press and the wanks that imported it and fucking had a countdown clock for fucking again. That's PJ, who obviously we love. There's been a little bit of a backlash. I think there's been some think pieces. There's always a think piece after a Souls game. It's like, let's just think about the critical reception of the game, which is fine. I actually think that the Souls games...
YX makes me feel Y about Z.
Yeah, pretty much. But those Souls games always have a lot of discourse. Well, in fact, discourse is maybe too fine a word for thousands of words of people going, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think, Miller, we've chatted about this before, is that sometimes it feels with the Souls games that because of their difficulty and because of the sheer the size and scope of their mechanics and the complexity of it, it can feel like you can't ever criticize the game without being told, well, you're wrong because you haven't played X, you don't know about Y, you don't know how these things...
How dare you not follow this obscene amount of rules you didn't know about to begin with.
And there's been a bit of that. A guy from IGN wrote something about how he didn't get on with it, which was fine. Although some of the criticisms seemed more about him just not knowing how maps work. Or at one point he said, I don't like that the game doesn't have a map. And it's like, well, how do you get around in your daily life? And then he writes, yeah, but before maps, I was always getting lost. Before maps on iPhone, I was always getting lost. Like, well, I think that's the problem with you and not the game. Like,
weird.
do you know what I mean? Like, why should a game cater because you're an idiot? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Is it the same guy who complained that Bloodborne doesn't respect his time?
yeah, the president of the United States of America.
It also doesn't.
Bloodborne
doesn't respect the fact that I'm clearly a moron.
Well, as I tweeted on the way to work today, I had to kill 2 games in the street because I didn't respect my time. Do you know what I mean? I can't be seen to be disrespected like that in front of other games.
The problem with that kind of, we were saying this earlier, is no one hates Bloodborne more than me. Like, I don't like it at all. I think it's utter garbage. But the point of the matter is that the design choices in that game aren't objective. They're subjective. They're not bad. It's not bad game design choices, because if they, like we said, if they were bad, everybody would hate them. You'd be able to. Yeah. You may tolerate them. But I don't think people tolerate them. I do actually think people like them. So you can't say, this game has wasted my time. It just wasn't a game for you. Like there's a bit, and I think even with Bloodborne, a game I don't like, I understand why people like it. It's addictive, and it is a challenge. It is, can you beat me kind of a thing, and people like that stuff.
I think the main issue is that there are the mechanics in the game, and this is the argument that prevents it from a lot of criticism. But it does bear repeating that everything in it has been built to feed into another interlocking mechanism, essentially. And just because there's not a checkpoint before a boss doesn't mean there's anything fundamentally wrong with the game, because that's the game. You may as well just get mad about the offside rule. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's part of the game. Like, accept it or don't play it. I will still obviously get upset about the away goals.
It's obviously it's designed as well, like for an audience that has been built up since Demon's Souls.
That's the thing. The audience is there.
Yeah, it's designed for those people are looking for that kind of experience, and you can have bad things that are designed to cater for that, and you can have good things that are designed to cater for that. Like there was a lot of talk when Bloodborne came out about, some people kept saying it would be nice to get opinions from people who aren't into the Souls games, and I'm like, I'm not sure that it, because I started thinking, well, it'll be a bit like if we got somebody who hates driving games to review like Drive Club or something. Yeah. Obviously, Dave is our driving game guy. We gave the driving games to him to review because he's close to it. He knows what works. And
he's
got
like a historical context with it as well.
I mean, I don't think there's any value in. I mean, with the greatest respect, Miller, I don't think there's any value in getting Simon Miller to do our main review of Bloodborne.
No, there is some value in it because it wound everybody up. But no, I completely agree. It's not a fair representation of what they want. But I mean, I think I would like a Souls-esque game that is a bit more accessible. I know people go, but then it's not a Souls-esque game. But I still think there's something there that I could enjoy if it wasn't the nightmare that it is. But then again, then people would say it's not the same game.
But Lords of the Fallen was sort of
that
striving for that.
It was trying to be that, wasn't it?
That was total shit.
With Bloodborne, I don't think there's... When you talk about the problems that the people have had with it. Now, the game actually, for me, does have quite a lot of problems. It's not anywhere near as good as Dark Souls, I don't think, in the way you discover areas and the differences between the areas, which I always thought was the beauty of Dark Souls. Which was when you came back from Blighttown into the Undead Burg, and then you went up to Anor Londo, and everything looked different, you know. And I know it sounds like quite a simple thing to say, but Bloodborne is almost like perma night. Now I know we're not going to spoil anything, but you know there are elements of the game that I think are just intrinsic to its design, and to criticize them is, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. Essentially, they're not executed badly. It's just maybe you don't get on with it, which is fine. But then other people get so mad and they're like, "Well, no, you're wrong, and you're wrong, and my dad's harder than your dad."
But this is what's happened. Like, this is not like a tease. It's not a tease. Just that happened to be the way the week went. We did a video for the Video Gamer Community Club, which was all about me just ranting about why I hate Bloodborne and the Dark Souls games. And one of the big things I don't like about it is this attitude of Bloodborne fans or Dark Souls fans that come at you for not liking it.
Yeah.
But as in always these situations, the response to that is that people that don't like it are fighting back in the same way. So everybody's just gone nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the issue we have, is that for whatever reason, this game does not create, well, maybe most games don't, but this game especially does not create this, I get it, but it's not for me. It's always, you're right, you're wrong. And this one takes it to a whole new level. Like, this one is absolutely insane.
Like I say, man, if you ever feel like trolling one of those people, if someone comes at you, just be like, look, calm yourself. It's not fucking Skyrim. Because I've noticed, like, Skyrim in particular, it seems to be like particularly hated by people who are into the Souls games.
Really? That's interesting.
Because I think because they are a bit yin and yang, you know, because...
Skyrim, one's really good and the other isn't.
Shut up.
Here we go. We're having it live right now.
Shut your face. No, but like it's a lot blander. Like the world's a lot blander. It's a lot more traditional, sort of European folklore. It's a lot slower. The combat is terrible. Like the combat is shy. I'm a massive Elder Scrolls fan, and the combat's always been piss. But you play it for completely different things. You play it because you want to be absorbed into a realistic feeling world where you know.
The one with the giant crabs, right?
Love that one.
You know, but what I mean is, like, minute to minute, you're not necessarily constantly in danger. Minute to minute, you're actually maybe walking around the shops in town, or sitting in your house reading a book. Like it's got a bit more of a focus on simulating life in that fantasy world.
I agree.
Whereas the focus for something like Bloodborne is totally different. So
Bloodborne to me is I don't know why I think of this developer. It's a Capcom game from 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Bloodborne feels like an amazing Castlevania game.
There you go. It's designed. It's designed to, you know, it's challenge. It's that classic video game thing of you're playing this to beat it. You're not playing it for the experience. You are playing it for the experience, but ideally, it's so you can put your hand up and say, "Hey, I beat Bloodborne." Yeah. And I think that is something that, in a way, maybe games did go away from, and it became set piece and experience heavy. So it's good that it's there.
It's a similar thing from the 90s, actually. If you wanted to annoy Mega Man fans in the 90s, you'd be like, calm yourself. It's not fucking Sonic 2.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we will leave the Periscope now because of other contractual obligations. Tom, say something. You've not said anything.
Well, it's all Bloodborne, isn't it?
Oh, really? Right. Yeah. Brilliant. Bye.
No, I don't know. I mean, these games aren't going anywhere, are they? I presume Bloodborne's done relatively well. Do we know? Do you have any idea?
I don't know big numbers, but
don't they keep those to their chest a little bit? Because does anyone really know how well Dark Souls
charted in the UK, but quite a lot beneath the second week sales of Hardline. Yeah. Hardline is a multi-platform game. But
also, they're niche games. They are. They have a very strong and passionate audience, which is great. But they are niche games. They don't
When you did that article, Steve, about is Bloodborne going to be Souls taken mainstream?
Yeah.
A lot of people argued with you. Well,
of course they did.
Basically said. But Souls is already mainstream.
No,
it's not, though, is it? That's just a perception. I mean, that's like the echo chamber perception of people who are into games and know about
it's them. Definitely. I don't think so. I'm happy to hear the debate against it as well. But I think there's a lot of people out there that probably don't even know They know of the games, they don't understand the kind of depth that they.
In the
they
article,
have.
I talked about not just the sales, because it sells well. I mean, there's no denying that for.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying it doesn't say well, but
for no doubt against its budget and
Yes,
against expectations.
So
But
basically, like mainstream is your Ma's heard of it, isn't it? That's it.
But what I was, part of it was in. Do you remember in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, there was a lot of stuff about the Prepare to Die editions, and a lot of it was,
Prepare to
Namco, wasn't it? Like, say what
Fuck
you will,
off.
but that worked because it was introducing. Like, there's a lot of like hand holding and tutorializing in games, and they, in fairness, in that to get a marketing edge. That's what they used. However, this one is far more accessible. And when I meant mainstream, I didn't mean it's going to, I actually said it's not going to sell 10 million copies. But as the biggest exclusive game, perhaps this generation, certainly on PS4, as the highest quality exclusive of this generation, no doubt, in my mind, and with about $4 billion behind it from Sony, and everything like that, then there are going to be people who go, okay, I've got PS4, I want to play this. Will I pick it up? So by mainstream, I don't, I mean people who aren't just Souls fanatics who know what Kingsfield is. I mean people who go into Tesco and go, okay, this is a big new game.
I feel sorry for those people.
Yeah.
They have fucking no clue. But they're saying that some people will love it, and that'd be awesome. Some people really dig that shit, and I think that's a nice way to, if you're right, I agree with you actually.
So yeah, but there were people saying, well, it is already mainstream, but I think it deliberately pigeonholed itself with the Souls games, and it worked, but now it can't work like that anymore.
It's certainly not mainstream. It is. I mean, it is a popular and well-known and respected brand within the industry. That's not the same as mainstream.
It feels, mainstream is you get one of these every fucking year. Do you know what I mean? And there wasn't that much difference between kind of Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I actually don't think there was. I think a year maybe, but then a couple of years and a couple of years. So
the fact they changed the name, doesn't it? I mean, that's almost like could have called it Dark Souls 3 and probably got away with it.
Yeah, but I think one of the main issues with people who are saying or thinking they won't like it is a Souls game, but it's also incredibly different. The combat, if you just stick Demon Souls, Dark Souls, you roll and it takes half of your stamina to begin with. Whereas in this, and like you were saying earlier, Miller, every enemy feels like a sub-boss. Whereas in this, you can just jump in, hack a few guys, jump out. It feels like Resi 4. It's so much like Resident Evil 4. It feels like an old Resi 4's pro mode set only in an expanded version of the opening of Resident Evil 4 with Dark Souls and Demon Souls mechanics, which is fucking brilliant. If you pitch that, it'd be like, yeah, do that.
And he did.
But I think that there's a lot of noise and and speaking of fucking Signal, like IGN, those guys, it's great to have like a chat about it, but don't think that the problems that you have with it are necessarily the problems of the game. And that's one of the most difficult things when you review a game, that maybe you don't actually like it, but you've still got to be like, okay, but I get it.
Yeah.
And some of his criticisms, to be fair to the IGN man, were, I think, good. So I think, some of it needed to be said. There's a lot of echo chamber, as we were saying, about Bloodborne and people getting their Souls guys on it to review it. But you don't. So Bloodborne, buy it now.
I agree with IGN, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You agree with the President of the United States of America.
I think it's one of those games that if someone said to me, should I try it? I'd say yes. Where if someone said to me, should I try Assassin's Creed? I'd probably go, I don't really care. But do you know what I mean? Because I think that Bloodborne is it divides people so much, and it's such an interesting. I go with having it's more than an experiment. You know what I mean? When it comes to games, I think it's something that if you like games, you should probably dip your toe in to see if it works. For you
that's another one, by the way. Just if you say,
you want to piss off Souls fans.
Look, it's not Assassin's Creed, mate. Calm down.
Fuck Assassin's Creed.
But yeah, I think the way, like I said, the way it's designed, and I remember being at Imagine, our old publisher, when Demon Souls came in, and
only one guy.
Yeah, one guy going, this is a 10. Everyone's like, fuck off, mate. Who made it? Armored Core guys.
Exactly,
the Armored Core, fuck off. Like, laughing.
The man Ashley Day, he deserves a shout out because he called that. I mean, he's so humble about it. He says he didn't, but he did. He called it way before anybody else.
Fought for the score that
Ashley Day knew
he thought it deserved, and it did. But I think a lot of people coming in may have that perception, even on Bloodborne, which is so much more user friendly. But it's one of those that when I borrowed his copy, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll give it a go. You've given it a 10. And after about an hour, I'm like, fuck me, this is brilliant. This is, fuck off, Ashley Day.
There you go, right. Fair play.
Fair play, right. Bloodborne chat's over, Jim. What's up next?
Right, Tom.
Tom, what have you been playing?
Bloodborne.
He's lying.
Obvious lies.
He's lying.
I haven't played Bloodborne.
Obvious lies.
Hashtag obvious lies.
Axiom Verge.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Which-
quite,
Metroidvania.
that's quite odd
Which
as well,
you were saying,
right?
like you were saying earlier about
Terrible name for a game.
it isn't
It's
an
a
odd
90s
name,
name, isn't it?
Like you were saying, games
Death's
that
Toll.
you think about when you're not playing them. I've been dreaming about it, actually dreaming about it. I dreamt last night, I guess second night in a row, I've dreamed about this game, that I lost my raincoat
Yeah,
and I lost it inside. I actually lost it on a bus,
yeah.
which wasn't part of the game world, but I found it inside one of the rooms inside Axiom Verge.
Right.
Don't know why.
That's illness.
Yeah.
You're too addicted
it-
now.
What is it?
I think that's much more sinister.
It's essentially Metroid. It is just a Metroid game. I've never played a Metroid game. It's on PlayStation 4, coming to Vita soon, and I think PC as well eventually. But at the moment, it's just on PS4, out today if you're listening on Wednesday. And it's, I mean, I've never played a Metroid game, really, like the old 16, 8-bit ones.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it looks very similar. But it is that kind of game where you explore, open up new areas that you couldn't get to before by getting new abilities, going back. There's doors and things you couldn't get through that then you can because you've got a new ability.
Yeah.
And it's massive. Like, my game clock says about 27 hours.
Right.
And I imagine some of that is because I'm rubbish.
Yeah.
And I got lost quite a lot. And because I was playing it pre-release, there was no one really to talk to. I
Yeah.
was talking to somebody via PSN messaging, sending him someone else that was reviewing it, and we were sending each other screenshots of where things were, and because he got stuck, I got stuck, we helped each other out a bit. And
It's like a love story.
it'd be a lot better. Like Bloodborne, people play it, and they play often with guides. Like, that is just a thing that you seem to accept about that game. I think this would be better if you were playing and other people were as well. You can then talk about it and say, oh, did you not see that bit there? Or you just need to go back to the top of Eden, northeast bit, and get through that door with the little robot that can shoot off and stuff.
There's been a lot of that recently. It was the same with when Brett was doing Bloodborne and when I was doing Pillars. Like you because there's no help.
Yeah. It's the first game I've ever messaged anybody about while reviewing with like pictures and like, I'm here, what the hell do I do? There's this, there's surely I can get up to this bit, but I can't seem to do it. And then you kind of, it's a part of it is, I think, like discovering it, but then you don't feel bad if someone else helps you out a little bit because it just, you're probably going to help them as well, potentially.
It's an RPG then.
Well,
right?
no, I wouldn't say it's
It's like Metroid.
yeah,
It's like Super Metroid, essentially.
It is just, it's a side-scrolling shooter platformer, but with exploration.
It's got a
Metroidvania.
massive world.
Yeah,
That's weird to me.
it's massive. Well, it's massive in that. I mean, it doesn't look big on the map screen, but then it must be because I've been playing it for forever. And there's just lots of bits where, I mean, there's a lot of backtracking. There always is in these kind of games because you have to go back to areas you knew you'd eventually get into, but you couldn't do initially because you didn't have like the weapon or the ability or the extra ability that you needed. But you know that eventually you're going to get that because there's a bit that you think, if only I could just warp through this, or if only I could just get that little bit higher, or why can't I launch my drone up there because there's a bit there I could definitely get to, but it just won't go high enough. And you think, oh, you'll get that eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I spent a long time on bits, quite embarrassingly, where I was trying to get up into an area and I just had to go basically around the back, essentially. Because
Like Turtles, Miller.
it's like, if you can't do it, either you need an ability that you haven't got yet, or there's another way to get into that bit
Break the game.
that you can get into. And it's, I mean, that for me was the bit I enjoyed the most about it, the exploration and like finding the new areas and figuring out how to get into those areas. And the moment where you think, oh, there was a bit where I couldn't figure out what to do, and I suddenly use an item on some like pink acid water, and it froze it into a block, and I could jump up. And that
fucked it.
It was like I'd spent a long time to figure out what to do, and then suddenly it's like, oh, why not I just try this, and it worked. And that is for me the best bit. But there's also like the combat side of it, and that is very good as well. I mean, I found some of the bosses a bit too hard, to be honest. A particular boss that I had to get Brett to do, which is why the review at the moment on the website doesn't have a score, because I couldn't beat this wasp.
I saw the wasp. It was massive.
It was. I mean, that isn't even a big enemy boss for the game, but it was the hardest one that I've come across.
Interesting that no one's really called out the Axiom Verge reviews, though. Because like Axiom Verge is a fairly hardcore game, which recalls older things. So why is that not getting?
Because it's cool not to.
And I think also it doesn't, like, the big issue I have with games like, I know you kind of explained this a bit earlier in the office, but with games like Bloodborne and the Souls games, I'd feel like if I spent an hour in an evening playing it and I didn't get anywhere, I'd feel like, what's the point? Whereas in this, you're always moving around, and you can save. Like I hate games that don't let you save fairly regularly, because I feel like I'm losing. Like, if I haven't got enough time, I can never do enough. Yeah. But there's a lot of save points, and when you die, you don't say you went and found an item, and you've got like a new gun, but then you die before you get to a save point. You get respawned at the last save point, but you keep what you found.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't feel like you've lost that thing because you store all these things already. You just lose like the progress you made to get to wherever you were trying to go. So you don't feel like you're losing out on that time you spent doing it.
So you always feel like you've got something out of it.
Yeah.
But I find that really interesting in that if you, with like Bloodborne or Souls or other games, other way you die and then you start again, is that you shouldn't need the game to say, well done, you've learned something, you've got something. Part of the appeal of the deaths in Bloodborne is that you should be learning, and the problem is with you, not it, if you're not doing that. Interesting. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. I think
if you lose half an hour, what happened? Did you do something wrong? Did you overstep the mark? Was the game unfair? Probably not. Or did you think, I'll just go another 5 steps and you got crushed? You know not to do that next time. It's like learning by doing. It's like how children learn.
I totally agree. Like, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, if someone said, Simon, you're now in charge of games, what's the first thing you want to decree? It would be like that every game you can push a button and it saves whenever you want.
Nah, mate. Absolutely not.
That would be my first thing. Because I cannot stand. I'm not playing games.
You would be against that because you're a Resident Evil fan. You've been conditioned against like good design.
Oh, says the man playing a fucking game from 1842.
2015.
Fucking Jules Verne made it.
I want all my games to have
game from 1842 where you can save anywhere, mate.
I'll save you, son. But
I think that's where the Division comes from. That's what I want. You understand why that's a problem.
The Division?
The Division, yeah.
You want the Division?
The Division. Let me tell you right now, we're already seeing it. Oh, this is what the Division's going to be. This is what the Division's going to be. Fuck off, is it? Assassin's Creed it. They've Assassin's Creed it. Ubisoft have done it again.
People seem to... When I speak to people, they
Rainbow
go...
Six have done it again.
Honestly.
Don't trust Ubisoft. DTU.
I'm so upset. When I saw Rainbow Six Siege at E3, it had to go a long way to make me think it was good, because for some reason, after getting up at like fucking 8 to do 9 hours of meetings and conferences, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to hold this at 12 p.m. In downtown at the Standard. So I'm in there like, oh for fuck's sake, I just want to sleep. Tomorrow's the worst day. I was like, shit, Rainbow Six Siege is,
no
small teams.
No.
It's very, very easily grasped. No real like perk or XP system. Nothing over the top. Yesterday, I'm like, I can't, that plain footage leak. I'm so looking forward to this. Yeah, it's got gold guns. And your operators have backstory. No one fucking cares. Like, if you played Counter-Strike, no one goes, man, these guys need a story.
Motivation?
That's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City level shit, right? No one cares.
I tell you, every time Ubisoft announce a game, give it 18 months, then you find out what it really is.
But with the Division, people are like, well, Steve, you don't actually. I've seen someone play that game at the same event. It's like I've seen half an hour of it. It's just Assassin's Creed meets a little bit of Freedom Fighters.
This is what you do now. This is the Ubisoft model. You pick your genre or your preferred setting, and they put it in their production line, and out it comes. Yeah. You like jungles, you play Far Cry. Yeah. You like olden times, you play Assassin's Creed. You like shooty bang bang, you play Rainbow Six. And it's all going to be the same. You like driving, you play The Crew. It's just that it still has this the Ubisoft template around it.
Yeah.
And every year it happens, and not enough people are moaning about it, apart from old Miller, and no one gives a shit.
If they fucked Rainbow Six up, I'll go around there and batter them.
Ubisoft fucked it when the crew had radio towers.
Exactly. But
It's like, I'm out. I am out. It's an open world driving game. It doesn't need this radio tower.
This is why
bullshit.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been, indefinitely delayed. Because they're like, we can't fucking work this into that model.
They can't
like,
work.
fuck it.
They
Get rid of
cannot
it.
work out a way to justify having you climbing a load of fucking towers.
But
around
do you know what you do in the division, which is similar, is that some of the areas that you go to, the disease that's been spread and everything, via cash and whatever, that's like mutated or something and taken over certain parts of the map, so you can't go into those points until you've. And there are guys with gas masks and flamethrowers who are trying to get rid of the plague, but then they're hostile to you because gameplay reasons. And we watched this, and you open up the map and it's like, okay, let's go here. And it's got so much HUD, or it had so much. It's just so much. Like, did you see someone tweeted saying, "Oh, I made Bloodborne more next gen," and there was a picture of Bloodborne's got very little HUD.
Yeah.
This one had three markers, your mission objective, when you could save, where to put everything, every weapon you had on the left. It was like, that's a Ubisoft game.
Yeah. And
I was thinking The Division could be brilliant. It could be Freedom Fighters 2. But it won't be.
It won't be.
It'll be Assassin's Creed it'll be Ubisoft open world game, New York.
Yeah, exactly. So it is.
Wherever
Ubisoft genuinely, taking the jokes away. I'm sure lots of people disagree. It's a production line studio. Do you know what I mean?
It's too big not to be.
Exactly.
But they're not a heritage brand, are they?
No. But not all publishers that size do it. They could put some EA don't do it. EA's games have a certain unique quality to them. Whereas the only unique quality I ever get from an Ubisoft game is the setting. That's that's.
Having said that, though, EA did very, 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 very obviously take a cops and robbers game and turn it into a battlefield game. Really
I'm not saying that they don't do it. Yeah. I'm just saying that
Ubisoft seems a lot more pronounced.
Yeah, you can go through EA franchise and go, that feels unique to itself. That feels unique to itself. Whereas Assassin's Creed game feel like that. Yves Guillemot went right.
Valiant Hearts, similar.
But Valiant Hearts is one of their artsy projects, isn't it? And I think that's how they try
count as a Ubisoft
No, because I'm
game?
talking about their big AAA Superhouse games. And I think that's one of the reasons they do, like Rayman. That's why they make it all sort of artsy and unique and stuff, because that's how they justify it. But we're doing this stuff, so don't worry about what we're doing here, because we're doing this stuff. But they don't come out as aggressively or as frequently as these production line games. That's my thing.
When you speak about Sony Pictures, you don't speak about Sony Pictures classics. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
I did wonder with Assassin's Creed Unity when they had those glitch bits when you end up in World War II or whatever. And the trailers and everyone's
does that happen in Unity?
Yeah, you end up with
trust Ubisoft to handle that with the respect and care that it needs.
The Animus glitches and stuff, and then you end up you've leaked into another memory. You're basically climbing the Eiffel Tower in World War II, shooting down Spitfires and shit with
just when I thought I couldn't hate anymore.
And you're just like,
there it is.
You're just like Ubisoft.
The moment.
Like, you can imagine, like, they want to do a game based on the French Revolution, which is a really obvious setting and one they've obviously wanted to do for a very long time. But they're like, but that was before they built the Eiffel Tower. We can't have a game in Paris where we don't climb the Eiffel Tower.
So true.
So they come up with this sort of bullshit. Oh, the game's crashing, so we're gonna have to put you into another server. What? Yeah. And that server's running World War II. What?
I despise the over narrative, the meta narrative of Assassin's Creed. I think
it's total bollocks. I love it though, because I love bollocks.
It speaks to me. Like, I remember the very first Assassin's Creed, and I was like, okay, get it. Like, it's past Hitman as it was built, and then a couple of the adverts had that. At the end of one of the trailers, it had that glitching, as you say. I just thought that to me speaks of a fundamental failure in your confidence.
Yeah, I've
in
said
this project.
times, yeah,
it's like
you don't.
People won't buy anything set in the past. Well, they will, because it looks amazing, and but it's like, oh, we'll make sure there's. And Desmond,
someone literally went, put technology in it. That's what somebody said.
Make it like the Matrix. Like, okay, but what about the ramifications of fucking your own grandparents or whatever? Don't worry about these horrible ethical questions that will come from this.
Also, like, I'm convinced as well, we're on the cusp of the World War II kind of genre flying
it's
back
on the way
into
back,
your face.
definitely.
And as soon as that happens, that's when Ubisoft will relaunch Brothers in Arms. I guarantee it'll be a World War II game, but they'll just take it'd be Assassin's Creed World War II.
I could go for another World War II game.
You'll definitely climb the Eiffel Tower in that.
Yeah, I'm up for the World War II comeback, the revolution, but the Ubisoft Brothers in Arms game, which I still believe it will come out eventually. Not what they showed; it'll be
not
massively
the Furious
different.
4
No, not
like
that. But it will just be a very serious take on it. But it will be climb towers, blah 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 blah, third person, all that nonsense, and it'll be sad.
That will be crap, won't it? Mm-hmm. It will be. Now I'm thinking Hidden and Dangerous.
Don't worry, that's when Medal of Honor will come back.
That's when World War II will come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I wouldn't mind a new gen World War II game. Although, having said that, they'd be so crass about it, wouldn't they? You can imagine it. Your rank up systems, assaulting the wolf's lair.
That's like the original the original
I'd like
new
to see
Medal
more.
of Honor.
I'd like to see more World War One games as well. To be honest,
do you remember To End All Wars?
No.
It was a game that was coming out years ago on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons it got canned, I mean, aside from budget cuts and it was being done by a small studio, was just that they were so desperate to recreate World War One realistically. It was incredibly boring because reloading your gun took about 8 minutes. And so they're like, this doesn't work, and they tweaked it and didn't work.
There's a Keith Sutherland movie called To End All Wars. I think Robert Carlyle. If Robbie Coltrane was doing it,
difference.
Carlyle's in it as well. It ends quite
if Carlyle's in it, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm fairly sure at least one of those things I just said is
true.
Is
he full Begbie in it, or
no? I think he plays a British Army officer in he's a Japanese prisoner of war. It's actually incredibly harrowing.
Because Carlyle's at his best when he's just playing Begbie again.
Well, yeah.
Which he frequently does.
In 28 weeks later, when he plays Begbie after a fucking 2-day booze bender, he just goes and tears up London. That's the only way that film works in any way.
Yeah.
But, hold on, though. Speaking of people tearing things up, Kojima, where is he? What is he?
Do you know what really annoys about Kojima? That he hasn't told us where he is.
Yeah.
Because
why hasn't he told me where he is? Why hasn't he called me? I'm a journalist.
Does he not know who the fuck I am? And I deserve to know where he is? Yeah. He's disrespecting my life. How dare you not tell me where you are?
Just for those in the cheap sheets, this is satire.
Oh yeah, massively.
Just to let you know.
Like I don't care where he is. I just hope that he's healthy. That's all that matters.
I hope that he's okay, and I'm not presuming that he's dead, but you never know. And I also hope that he's off the fucking carousel now of nonsense. I presume that they're going to dissolve their partnership, and I hope that he just gets on with the Phantom Pain. I think that
he will do.
Well, yeah,
Kojima's mental, but he's got integrity.
He's a professional.
Yeah.
But one of the most interesting things about it is if they had just been announced, like when a footballer leaves a club, it's like it's happening. They've been together for ages, but maybe they want to go different directions.
Yeah.
There's an announcement. This will be the last. Imagine it should have been a celebration, the last, final, Quentin Tarantino kind of thing, the 8th film. When he does his final film, it'll be like the final experience. That's how it should have been. But instead, you've got this very video gamey, a very petty public dispute with nothing actually said, so it's pure speculation. And then his name's getting removed. Now, I don't know why Konami would have removed his name unless he specifically asked them to do so, because his name sells the game.
Yep.
When Paramount, like I said, when Paramount split their, I think it was quite acrimonious with Coppola, with The Godfather, his name is still on it all. They didn't just go get rid of Francis Coppola's name because he fucking made it and his name is a selling point. It's part of the experience. Mm-hmm. And so something has happened, and something quite dramatic for either them to take that course of action and cut their nose off to spite their face, or for him to feel so affronted that he actually wants to Alan Smithy it, essentially, and remove his name. Now, it will still be in the game, but from the marketing, at least, it's a fascinating situation. When people at Kotaku are saying, well, I want to know what's happening. You're a fucking journalist. Go and find out what's happening. Yeah. Why should he have to come out and be like, well,
it's nobody's business. I mean, it is and it isn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not for him to come out and say what he's doing.
They've said, and again, it's a bit woolly, and it's not great. It hasn't been well communicated at all. I get that, but Kojima is working on Phantom Pain. It's out soonish. Just let him get on with it. You know what I mean?
I think that the biggest sort of disappointment's the wrong word, but I guess intriguing point is what happened with Silent Hills. So if he's putting his time, that was probably never his priority project anyway. So that's probably been overseen by him. What happens to it now? Because
apparently that's still fine because it was more of a deal between.
It was Guillermo del Toro
and Konami.
So. That Kojima was all over that demo. All over it was Kojima, and I think taking that kind of spark out of it could,
but
damage it massively.
Sometimes when Kojima, in the past, Kojima has actually had these kind of all-star team-ups, even on his own game, even on Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes for GameCube, which wasn't really that good. I mean, it was good, and if you've got a PAL copy, it's worth some dollar, so hang on to that. But, that was, Miyamoto was there, Miyamoto was there, Dennis Dyack?
Yeah, he was involved,
from Silicon Knights, because they made it with Kojima kind of overseeing while he was doing MGS3 as well and all that. Okay, that sounds like it, but the thing with Dream Teams is they rarely work.
True.
Because, you need someone to be the head, and if you've got Miyamoto and Kojima, well, I did this. Yeah. Well, actually, I did. I'm not saying that's what happened on the Twin Snakes, but sometimes you need one vision and not a lot of people who are superstars going, okay, well, but what if we did like this? Like bands, was it Audio Slave?
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I think my worry is that maybe Kojima was that guy on Silent Hills. I know we don't know that's for the case, but just from that demo and how it played out and how nuts it was, that's the impression that I get. But I agree with you. I think A, it doesn't matter where he is. Let him get his life. And B, I don't think Konami are a business. They want to make money. So regardless what the fallout was, if it's not so bad that he can continue to work on the game, they want his name on the product. So I would say as a Kojima call, and I would say whatever he does after that is.
I think it's all been a Kojima call, because what has Konami got outside of? I mean, it still has Metal Gear, but he's not making.
Nobody wants a Metal Gear made by Kojima, not made by Kojima.
You know what I mean? Like he's so entwined with the development. Like they are Kojima games, for better or worse, and sometimes it's a lot fucking worse. They are Kojima games. You get stuff out of him that you just don't get really anywhere else. So I don't really. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating story when the truth is out, and I don't think that'll be for a while yet.
There you go. That is that one put to bed.
Bloody hell. Well, I think we better move on to Photoshop competition. We've got a new podcast competition. You've got a week to enter it. We're going to be tweeting. We'll put a forum thread up on VideoGamer.com. There's a picture of me and Steve in front of a green screen dressed like twats.
Yep. So we're just standing there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a family portrait.
And you'll have seen, you might have seen on the Twitter, we put up a promo for a series we're never going to make called Capital Punishment. But we're wondering if you can put us into game box art, posters, whatever. Make up something that me and Steve would star in, like within certain parameters. Actually, I'm not going to give you free rein on that.
Do you want them to rub your egos or destroy your egos?
Either or is absolutely fine by me.
I mean, we've been on Twitter before, so we know how that works.
Yeah. And make sure it's something that like BBC Two would be able to broadcast before 9 o'clock as well, because.
What, a load of old shite?
I don't want.
As long as the BBC
don't want any
could
nonsense.
Broadcast it at all, would be all right.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Broadcast it at all. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be, by the way. I didn't want to make that sound like it was some kind of announcement. We're doing a deal with BBC. It's a content share.
Oh my life! Can you imagine?
Yeah, we're doing Piss Morning. It's the new breakfast show. Imagine Piss Morning was 3 hours long.
Oh my life! By the
on
first
the
hour,
telly, and had Gino D'Acampo and shit on.
One day, don't worry. One day,
yeah.
when Philip Schofield checks
Gino,
out.
can you piss into this jug? So we'll put up the image. We'll announce further details of that competition on Twitter and on the website. We've got questions now. I'm just going to go through them. There's quite a few. I can never pronounce this person's name, so I do apologise, but. Eligis Dimmer. I don't.
That'll do. I know what you mean.
That'll do. Right. Okay. Serious question. Why does Burns hate good games? Right. Why does Burns hate good games and love shite ones? Is it just to be a jerk, or is there a legit reason?
It's because it winds you up. And I'm
Also,
fueled by your hate.
You've got to push the other end of it as well, though. That there's no such thing as good or bad game. It's all individual taste. You just got to accept
this is
it.
fucking, what?
No.
It's my new thing now. My new thing in life is to try and make this a thing. That you can come up to me and go, Miller, I hate this. I like it. And then, like, you know.
What, Buddhism?
Yeah. I'm pushing Buddhism. But that's my thing now. We got to get past this now. It's to just let people enjoy shit, man. Think how much better the world would be.
I mean, you know, if you want to watch a show where a 45-year-old man can come out in a pair of Y-fronts and dressed as a Nazi Terminator,
all right,
that's absolutely fine.
Even I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's absolutely fine.
I made him that costume, I told you. They gave me a call at 6 p.m. on Sunday. They said, Miller, make this 2 minutes later. I go, that's the best I can do. That's Triple H's costume at WrestleMania, by the way.
I'm sure you've all seen it. That's not a spoiler because the world was aghast.
The world was aghast.
Just to take over the podcast once was an amazing thread on the Squared Circle subreddit, which is a wrestling thing, where some guy, he really looked at it seriously. He's like, right, I don't understand this entrance, because he comes out with 4 Terminators around him. Mm-hmm. He's dressed like a Terminator, but then when he takes all that stuff off, someone gives him 6 Terminator heads that have been crushed, and he celebrates. So is he with or against the Terminators? It's like, it's actually a very good point. Makes no sense. None of that entrance made sense. None of it.
Were those
terrible.
were those like rebel Terminators?
I guess so.
There's an entire backstory in Triple H's head.
I don't know.
It makes sense to him.
It was one of the worst.
He's written pages and pages of his own fan fiction about this.
It was. We don't want to talk about the match, so I don't want to spoil it, but it was awful. Awful entrance.
There'll be
genuinely
a Word doc
terrible.
on Triple H's laptop. It's like Triple H takes down Skynet.
He probably thinks he did.
by Triple H, age 46 and a half.
I'm over. Anyway, yes, that was it.
So no, you crack on, chap. You crack on.
Right. Sam Chapter asks, is there a franchise you love so much that you will always give it a free pass and forgive any monstrosities it chunders up?
No, because Resident Evil 6 would have been... Resident Evil, I played literally every fucking one of those games. And then Resident Evil 6 came out and it was so over the top, it was almost like satire of itself.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But
No, I don't think you can.
because that's how you get into... I mean, there are games that you can play and enjoy and know that they're a bit shit. I mean, that's essentially people playing Assassin's Creed, right? They know it's a bit wank. But some of it's really good. And so they enjoy other elements of it. But to be like, oh, no, it's really good because...
If anything, I think it does the opposite. You love it so much that it burns you twice as hard.
Well, when you love something, its flaws are magnified completely. Oh, fuck, that was a bit dark, wasn't it?
No, I liked it. It's poetic.
Like, I love Big Tasties.
Yeah.
Right? I went to get a Big Tasty the other day, and fucking the bun just wasn't quite as soft as it should have been.
So I went
just
back and threw it in the guy's face.
They'd been in the toaster a bit too long.
Fucked it. Absolutely fucked it.
Yeah.
No, because like, to me, so Zelda was what I was using in my head, because I love all those games. But the fact is, I do love all those games. I don't think they've made, apart from the Philips CD things, whatever the fuck that thing was called. But that's different. Yeah. So I don't know.
No Zelda game's really been shiter,
That's
it?
the
Apart
thing,
from the
like,
CDI version.
Yeah, there's no like proper bad game. But even then, if they did fuck it, I would be. Yeah, I'd be upset. I'd be disappointed. I wouldn't go, I'm going to persevere. It's like Dragon Age. I'm trying to persevere with it, but I just can't. I have to stop because it's just not good enough.
Fair enough.
So. It's not like it's Skyrim, though, is it?
No, nothing like Skyrim.
You've cultivated, Burns, an image for yourself of a man who wouldn't be seen dead near a fucking McDonald's, and yet it's like your favourite restaurant.
Well, it's not actually my favourite restaurant. I'm off to the Duck and Waffle. But,
yeah, but is that actually the question?
No, Big Tasty.
No.
Right, okay.
This is just me putting Burns up on an inconsistency in his character.
What a question.
Yeah, the Burns character is getting a bit weird at the moment. The Burns character needs to be retired. I'm going face.
Should we reveal that now, that a lot of what we do is basically characters we've made up for
wrestling,
ourselves?
Isn't it?
No one actually sees. Everyone thinks we're joking, but genuinely, a lot of the time, we'll record stuff and go, right, make sure you push this nonsense.
Yeah. Apart from the kids thing, I just hate those things.
That's the real part of the gimmick.
I think even that's not quite true.
No, it really is.
You did say that you would bring up a child if it was left on your doorstep.
Yeah, but that's just common decency.
There is. There's always what do you call it? There's always a what the fuck is that phrase? Exception. There.
I just don't want another version of me, and neither does anyone else.
My kids were in the office last week, and to be fair to Steve, you could tell he was struggling, but he dealt with it very well.
Exactly.
I have to say.
There you go.
Exactly.
Good work.
My 8-year-old,
well.
my 8-year-old just talks to people, and I didn't pre-warn her before. I didn't go, see that guy, just don't start calling.
Stranger danger.
He won't like it. But so she starts talking to Burns, and in my head I was going, "Oh fuck!" But no, you dealt with it very well, Burns. I was gonna tell Lydia that you're very good around children.
Fucked it. Dead.
Anyway,
Got to get a nanny. That's what. If I had a kid, I'd have a nanny. Big time, mate. I don't want to see it. When it's 15, let me know how it's getting on. Right. Next.
Well, like the Tudors or something.
Oh,
like,
big time. Absolutely.
Like Henry VII, yeah, fucking.
How is my son? He's done right. You know, it's
straight to boarding school, mate.
I'm talking about that. There's some of the heartbreaking things I've read about growing up as an aristocrat in Tudor England.
Yeah.
Henry VIII, sorry, on Christmas Day, when Elizabeth was like 8 years old, the same age my daughter is now, on Christmas Day one year, he sent one of his flunkies to go and wish her happy Christmas. She was being raised in a house in the country. He's like, "Go and tell my daughter happy Christmas, will you?" And
yeah, but
like,
Jim, that was
right.
the past. You couldn't just fucking get on Snapchat and be like, "Cheers, babes." You know what I mean?
like send a tweet.
Yeah, he had horses. Like,
At Henry VIII.
Yeah, but Henry VIII wasn't known really.
Yeah, he wasn't a good man.
for doing nice stuff.
Yeah, but I just thought it was a sad story. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm far too obsessed with
The,
the Tudors.
the money helps.
Far too obsessed with the Tudors.
The meat.
Harry Styles. I don't think it's actually Harry Styles.
If it is, oh my gosh.
But he asks, Miller is in a room with Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne. He has a gun with 2 bullets. Which games does he shoot?
2 bullets. I get rid of the Souls games. So I think Bloodborne, I think Bloodborne built. I don't hate it, but I think it's like I say, you can cut through enemies a bit easier. The fodder.
I hate the Souls games almost as much as you
1
do.
and 2.
But I think Bloodborne's got a chance to win at least one of us over.
Yes, I agree. It's one scam all over
Ain't
as
gonna
well.
be me, like,
but no, I killed. That's easier than I thought. The Dark Souls games would go straight away, especially the first one. Oh, just awful.
And would that
awful.
not go to Bloodborne as well? In like a timeline situation, would Bloodborne just die as well?
That's true. It would. They see you're thinking. I like it. Like the Terminator shit. This is good,
Tom. Because if, for example,
the question
if someone
was,
killed your parents in the same room as you don't then die. You know that, right?
Maybe you do.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to Harry Styles, the question was, you've got a gun and 2 bullets. It wasn't like you've got a gun and 2 bullets and a time machine.
Well, if that's the case, I can do
Be
another
more
lot more
specific
fun.
next time.
Yeah,
he hasn't
no.
said you don't have a time
We get
machine.
rid of the Souls games. Definitely
Right,
Souls games.
We're assuming you're saying that Miller also has a time machine. Maybe they just assume, yeah, Miller's got a time machine, right?
You just walk in the studio, I got a gun shooting Dark Souls boxes. Miller's lost it. But yeah, they're easy, those 2. They're gone.
Just
They're out.
blows
They're
it
dead.
away.
Yeah.
Again, like a shit Robocop.
Yeah.
Andy asks, are there any under-the-radar games coming out that we should be excited for?
The Killernator.
There might be, but we don't know what they are. They're under the radar, aren't they?
Under the radar.
The Killernator.
Is that a real game called the Killernator?
No, I'm making it.
Oh, okay.
Serious
There's
talking.
that game, apart from Axiom Verge, which is out today.
Tom now works for Axiom Verge.
What's that game you played with the guy who will not be named? There's an indie game. Titan something.
Titan Souls?
Yeah.
We got some shit coming out in Titan Souls. They got a preview build they want to send us.
All right.
I was going to touch them, so we'll
That's
do
out
something
in
soon.
a couple of weeks, I think.
And that game by the Ollie guys. The shooting game.
I played that at the same time. They're both really
the
good.
Ollie guys have done a shooting game.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it's good, but it wasn't
Very stylish,
Titan
isn't it?
Souls was genuinely something I could see myself playing. It's really good.
Right.
It's a bit like Dark Souls somewhat in terms of the challenge, but
Well, Titan Souls.
it's hard. But I know what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying that if your game's like
I have to say-
Demon Souls, calling it, or Dark Souls, calling it something
Oh, I
Souls is
see, right,
it's
sorry, I
like
thought you
making
were-
a robot,
Right,
a
sorry.
film about a time traveling
Right.
robot, calling it the Exterminator.
I couldn't.
Which exists. It exists.
Coming out this summer.
I've never been able to get on with Ollie. I've tried so hard.
We chat about it on a podcast
Yeah.
you went on. I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's not
It's just like the
addictive enough.
Ollie
controls
Co.
just don't have that. Because like,
So it's a niche joke.
I only said that because he listens to this.
Does he really?
Dick.
Oh fuck. Oh well, there you go.
it's just Burns is just hurling abuse at people now. Like it doesn't have that. Like a lot of games, like just via their controls and via sort of in like being intuitive, reach a point where you just sort of slide into.
Yeah,
it.
it never
And
get
you
there.
might
It's a
be
constant
shit.
challenge.
Yeah. I mean, you feel really like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater doesn't feel like it's difficult to control. They're certainly really, really hard to master, but like the basics of it, you just slot right in.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
don't
perfect.
get that with Ollie at all.
Ollie is just shite.
Yep.
Right. Matthew Arnaud, or Arnott, I don't know how he likes it pronounced. Thoughts on the Retron 5? Is it worth getting? Now, he has asked us, I think, the last few weeks, and we've never addressed it.
This is the retro console.
Yeah. But Tom, you spent the most time with it.
I like it a lot. I think there's a few things. If you've got a lot of old games, cartridge, like 16-bit or 8-bit cartridge games, SNES, Mega Drive, NES, etc., yes.
Yeah.
If you're... Because you'll then play those games more because you've got something you can plug into your new TV, and it'll just work and it'll look a lot better. If you're starting to build a collection of games, then it's trickier because you suddenly got a lot more expense, and it's if you're coming to it from like I've got all these games in my attic or whatever, and it's a pain playing it on my new TV because it looks rubbish and it's awkward plugging it in and all that kind of stuff. It would make you play those games again. So I think if you've got all those, yes, I think it's definitely worth it. It's quite expensive. It's like £130.
Okay.
But if you've already got the games, then I think that's a decent investment because you suddenly you can just play them all without any trouble and it works very well. But if you're like starting scratch, you've got to prepare for quite a lot of expense. Because buying old games isn't that cheap if you want some of the good ones.
Yeah, it really isn't, is it? It's
like I've been looking for Super Metroid for a while, and because I don't want to spend much money, and realistically, it's at least £30.
Just nick it. What's the problem? Just nick it off the internet.
I think the problem is downloading ROMs or anything like this. Back years ago, I used to download lots of games because everyone does it at some point. It's particularly the Dreamcast because it was just so easy.
You can download a car,
and there is a thing when you download. That's true, but when you download something,
it's a real thing. Kill me now. Hold on, Tom. Sorry to interrupt. Hold on. As an aside to the car thing, someone did upload a file to BitTorrent once called a car. It was like 400 gigs. Right, carry on.
When you download something and it's just like. You've got access to like hundreds of games or whatever, like ROMs. You never invested your time in any of them. That's what I found.
That's true. Whereas that's like rich people with loads of shit, right?
If you buy something, so if I spent 30, 40 quid on Super Metroid, I would play it because I've put money into it. And it's the same. It's just, I think there is a benefit of actually owning them and putting money into them because you are going to actually use it. And it's too easy to like download 800 ROMs and just flick between them all in like an hour. It's like, no, you're not bothered. But I think if you have it and you buy it, you're invested and you actually put time into it.
That's true.
It does feel better than just playing it on a ROM. Plus, you don't have the hassle of an emulator or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Which always it will be more trouble than what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, truth.
Well, I hope that answers that for him because he's obviously keen to get one. Because as I say,
if you want one,
I've seen this.
If you want one and you're thinking about it, I think it's worth it. It's good. Yeah. It's good. I think it's just look into what games you might want to play on it and look because they are surprisingly, even though they're not, say 30 quid isn't that much really, but because it's old you think I'll probably better buy this for like £2 but you don't.
It does feel like because I've used the Retron as well. We've used it for videos and stuff, and apart from the controller, which is the controller it comes with is awful.
You need to get like a SNES or Mega Drive controller and
it's got plugs to plug in the actual real controllers from those consoles, which is great. Like, and it's a really nice machine, and like the game's really like it outputs at 720 60. It looks really, really nice. Astonishingly so, because I remember like using SNES emulators and whatever on computer screens, and it never looks that good.
Yeah.
Never looks that good. But the Retron does something that manages to make it look like it now fits a HD TV without like cocking it up or like scaling it wrongly.
You can even force PAL games. This is a bit maybe a bit too geeky, but force the PAL 50 games to run at 60 hertz.
Yeah, so the dream is real.
So, but it does sometimes mess up some things that are timing based. But so you don't get the same slow. I mean, we didn't notice it as much when we were kids because we didn't know any better. But if you've seen sort of Metroid being played on an NTSC cartridge, it is a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Sonic as well. There's a noticeable difference. So.
Basically, all old games.
It's nearly 20% faster, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's obviously quite a difference.
I remember. getting into a wonderful or seeing a wonderful argument actually on
Trek BBS.
Trek BBS.
Always.
The Star Trek bulletin board.
Fucking hell. That's the last thing I thought you were going to say.
The Star Trek bulletin board, an argument about Sonic the Hedgehog. It was actually about Max Payne, and somebody said this was the first instance of bullet time in video games, which I don't know how true that is, or if
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, Max Payne. But somebody said, no, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Remember when he lost all his rings and it would slow down?
That's true.
That's bullet time. And everyone's like, no, that's just, there were too many things to, what the...
That's weird.
That's just slow down, you dick.
But it was either like an amazing troll or an idiot. You can never quite tell.
It was me. Yeah.
But it was a thread that went on after that on that topic of whether or not Sonic deliberately slowed down for about 20 pages.
Fuck my life.
The internet, ladies and
This is a
gentlemen.
Star Trek message board. At no point
right,
did anyone
it's
pop in and go, by the way, what the fuck has this got to do with Star Trek?
Someone just put in big caps, phasers set to stun. There we go. We're back on track.
Phaser set to
Set
homework.
phasers to frag. That was an actual tagline for an actual Star Trek. Yeah. It's not good, is it? It's not good at all. Brett Claxton, way. What do you think? What do you want to see in this year's WWE game?
Oh, so many things.
Triple H and a
gameplay,
Nazi Terminator
actual
outfit.
gameplay.
I mean, it will happen. The thing I really think the WWE games need is a reset. Because they're still building on this same basis they've had for 10 years, if not more. They need to start feeling different. They need to start feeling new. Because even though that template was good at one stage, like everything, everything it wears out. Everything gets tired. Everything gets boring after a while. And, they're still doing a lot of good. And the latest one, visually was a big step up. But the foundations needs to change. And they need to bring stuff back from old games that they took out. Like Here Comes the Pain, which came out, 2006? Was it that logo? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, whenever it came out. Of course, because SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, yeah. I mean, there was small stuff like that, interrupting finishes and things like that, which have just...
Here Comes the Pain's amazing. Just do
it's
that.
Really good, yeah.
Well, if we went back to it now, I'd be like, oh, this is too slow.
But yeah, they just need to... The big thing they need is, and I understand why they don't do it the same reason FIFA doesn't do it, or PES, or Call of Duty, or Assassin's Creed. Call of Duty is a bit different because it has multiple development teams, but it needs a year off to reinvent itself. That's what it desperately needs, and I think, the people working on it can do it, but they don't have the time. And I just think, building a brand new wrestling game from scratch, which is going to cost a lot of money and a lot of time, which I get is difficult, would
what it needs,
be
Miller,
amazing.
I'll tell you what it needs, and I'm going to tell you what you told me, and I'm going to pass it off as my own.
That's fine.
So ignore what I just said. What a wrestling game needs is
I know
a
what you're gonna
mode
say,
where it's very obvious that it's a work and it's cooperative, and so players have to work together like a rhythm action game
that's
to
right.
get the biggest pop out of the crowd
That's 100%
and get
right.
get a score. That's what wrestling is. It's a work, right?
The reason those games have the longevity they do and they can still take it back is because if you know what you're doing when it comes to wrestling games, you get somebody in the same room with you that understands wrestling and you wait for the match to come to its proper conclusion. So, for example, if Burns and I are playing and Burns does a particularly amazing sort of reversal combo finisher on me, I don't kick out. I don't even try because he has won the match. He worked the fans.
Exactly.
And he worked the match.
Exactly.
But you say that, if you start doing that and you start treating it like professional wrestling, then all of a sudden you understand why these games are so good.
You're talking about RPing a wrestling game.
But you don't. Once you do it, you'll never ever go back, and that's why. And this is probably in the later games. It's just my nostalgic memory that remembers this. That's why the No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 games were so good because they had a button where. It was a kick out button. That's the whole point of it. I know you can cancel pins now, but that's not the same. It had a button that you pushed, so if Burns is pinning me, and it'd do a big kick out thing, so you could time it and stuff. And it was just, what's the word I'm looking for? But it encouraged you to play it like a worked wrestling match.
But it didn't have a health meter, did it? It had like a spirit meter.
That's right, yeah.
And essentially that was crowd, like how the crowd...
You could let people get back into the match and you could have your big baby face come back because you were letting them do it to you. I tell you right now, if you do not understand a wrestling guessing games, but you understand wrestling, go find your mate who likes wrestling, sit down, work a match. In any WWE game, you'll understand why they're so good.
We should make an iOS game where you work a wrestling match.
We really should.
We should. Right. Let's find someone who can make games.
Let's find the most important part.
I'm going to bother Christos about it again.
Hey, actually, I'll have you know that Christos said that my idea for the Killinator was both not what he thought and brilliant. So see ya.
Yeah, I mean, he said that to you.
Actually said it on Twitter. Thanks. And then my name wasn't
What
even
is
first.
the Killinator? You just kill people?
Yeah. But it's got a twist. It's got a twist. Don't worry, Tom.
Your idea for this game is so brilliant and original, Burns.
Tom, I'll be writing the exclusive preview and then reviewing my own game.
Burns sitting there
doing a special
in a
edition.
business meeting with fucking 2 hats on. Yeah, you kill people, innit?
Yeah, we'll see. But also, I will be reviewing my own game and giving it 6.
Yeah.
Just so the internet doesn't know what to do and just melts down.
But shit, we got nothing to say. So yeah, that's it. That's my 2 cents.
Score. What do you want to blah blah? Bilal asks, "Who's the most handsome guy at the Video Gamer office?"
I'd say
we're just not answering.
I'd say it's that guy that pops in every Thursday to do the alarm.
Yeah, that guy.
And he holds the button down on the alarm.
That silver fox.
Yeah, for about 2 fucking minutes longer than it should do. And it gets to the point where you just start melting down. It's just like if he doesn't let go of that, I'm going to go out there and
But it's also like he said it was a test, but has he like fallen over and somehow burnt the place down because this thing is not going off?
Says it's just a little test, nothing to worry about, and it goes on for so long that
he seems pleasant enough.
Starts shaking the atoms in your body apart.
Exactly. He looks like Andy Warhol as well. But
it is
that's where he's been.
We are a fucking Andy Warhol art installation and we didn't even know it.
Oh shit,
son.
That's the Video Gamer. Thanks.
Carlos Valero asked, "Do a live." Well, it's more of a statement. Do a live stream where Burns plays Pillars of Eternity.
I'll do it.
You got that, basically, though. You can go watch 2 bastards play right now.
Yeah,
that's Burns playing Pillars of Eternity.
2 bastards play. Yeah. That's,
Just pretend it's live.
Essentially, what he's asking for is, can I get 2 hours of Burns being an asshole? And like, if you just watch every Burns video.
See, if this was the 90s, we'd do a very wrestling thing and just cut to get how Mr. Perfect Greatest Hits or the other. We just have just like a Silver Vision video of me being the biggest arsehole moments of Stephen W. Burns with an opening from Jack Tunney.
Jack Tunney, president.
Didn't have podcasts in the 90s, mate. The Welsh.
Well, that's why I said if this was the 90s, you dick.
The Welsh commentator asks, "Have you ever looked back at a review and felt that you made a mistake, i.e., the score?" I don't know if he's got a specific one in mind.
Yeah. There are a few games. I think there are many people who think that maybe they overscored a game, but scoring games isn't an exact science.
It's hard because you are at the time, like you are judging it on the time that moment, and things change.
Yeah.
And like you look back and think, well, maybe there was a bit of hype around it, but you are in that hype, and if you're feeling it, then that is what you go with.
And it goes the other way as well. Like we brought him up earlier, so just because he kind of ties in, he will hate me telling this story. I don't know if he listens to this or not, so we'll find out. But Ashley Day, the guy that we used to work with, to this day hates himself for not giving one of the Super Mario Galaxy games a 10. I'm not sure it was the first or the second one.
There was a thing about that, though, wasn't there?
He regrets it massively. Like he thinks it's an amazing game, but whatever reason he went for 9 rather than 10.
But there are, I'm not saying with regards to that, but there are other factors in play. And one of the games that I regret giving too low a score to was Call of Juarez, is it Gunslinger, which I gave a 5 to, which seems incredibly harsh now, and it is. But I didn't think the game was amazing. It just did a lot of base things very well. And so in the kind of, was it average? Well, it was, but it was enjoyable. And I probably would have bumped it maybe a point or 2, because I actually did. I could tell you where I was when I was playing fucking Gunslinger. It was the final day of the Premier League season. But, maybe that's got more to do with that than the game. But I remember coming in and thinking, I enjoyed it, but is it pushing stuff? And that's why scoring is such a, like I say, inexact science, is that when you think that I gave Beyond a fucking 4, Gunslinger is so much better in what it sets out to do and what it achieves.
A bit harsh on Beyond.
I don't think it's harsh enough.
The New York Times only agrees with one of us, mate, and it's not you.
I regret giving Assassin's Creed a 5. I should have given it a 1. Scored it 4 points too high.
Shadow of the Colossus,
I regret not giving Assassin's Creed Unity a 10. Because the amount of boiled piss I've had for giving it an 8 continues to this day is incredible.
There are a few games that
sorry, go on.
There are a few games that I think that I've scored too high, mainly because I don't score any games high. But in the office today, Dave Scammell, who can't be with us today because he's doing news.
He's behind a paywall today.
Yeah, was saying that he came in and said, "Oh, Steve, you should have given Advanced Warfare a 9." Yeah. And at the time, it was right on a knife edge, whether it was going to get an 8 or get a 9. Yeah. And my argument for the 8 was, 9 is what I gave to 8 in isolation. Something that I think did something completely different. Every now and then I think about 8 in isolation, like, fuck me, that really was good. It's systems, whereas this is just a very, very, very good Call of Duty game. Now, its best, Call of Duty is good, but there is franchise fatigue. Yeah. There are people who would have been like, well, it's just COD. And people go, you gave COD a 9. This is ridiculous. But you gave COD an 8 or a 7. Maybe I should have given Ghosts a 6. Probably should have given that a 6. But again, it comes down to...
But that's relative. Ghosts all of a sudden becomes a point lower because you play Advanced Warfare and remember what's good about it and go, fuck, they fucked up more than I realised. And if you're doing relative scoring, it's such a bad habit to get into. No, it doesn't work.
Because then you're comparing it to games that came out 5 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't. You cannot do that. You can't do it. Tom, what were you going to say about Shadow of the Colossus?
Well, I think I gave it a 9. I think if I gave it a 10...
I give it a 10.
But then now, I look back at it and think it's definitely a 10. At the time, I can't remember what I said about it. I may have given it a 10, but if I gave it a 9, I probably mind about the frame rate and some of the clunky controls. But then I think back at it, and I don't remember that at all. I just remember all the cool moments, and it's one of the most memorable games I've ever played. So it definitely deserves a 10. But at the time, you're thinking, well, it's got these issues, and but then I don't remember those issues now. I just remember how brilliant it was.
Well, the remaster didn't have those issues at all, did it?
Well, it still had the controls,
the weird controls.
Wow. But
I think I give it 10. I think I go. What did I ever review that? I don't think I did.
Why do people give Metal Gear Solid a pass for shit controls?
I don't.
The second game.
Yeah, but people do though. The second game's got terrible controls.
Yeah. The second game is just terrible for
it's a load of piss, isn't it?
But I think what we don't, just as an addition, what we don't have in games enough of, and there's been a little move to it for rescoring games, but that rescoring games or giving scores later is generally maybe down to technical things, or maybe you don't think you've spent enough time with it. Whereas in film, there's like Ebert has plenty of reviews where he'd have given a film 2 stars, because it was out of 4 or something, like 1 or 2, and then years later. And this obviously because he was such a good critic, because he was so famous, he could just go, hey guys, this week I'm going to talk about this. But he did something on Apocalypse Now like 20 years after it came out or something, and he was like, you know what, I feel completely different about this movie. I feel that in the years that have gone past, we don't really have that in video games, mainly because no video game critic has been.
But also, it would go the other way. Like, if you sit down and play GoldenEye now, you go, fucking, it's unplayable. Well, that's the problem, is that the technical shifts, you mark games down.
Yeah, it's not unplayable. It's not, you're unplayable.
But see, people who insist that GoldenEye is like the greatest FPS of all time, it's not. Bollocks. What is it? Fuck. Was it fuck?
I think it is.
It wasn't.
I've never enjoyed a first-person shooter as much as I enjoyed
It wasn't even brilliant back then, Miller.
Of course it was. Whoa, what are you talking about? Without that, you wouldn't have your precious Call of Duty.
That is fucking...
What?
No, GoldenEye is amazing. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
That was... The 4-player multiplayer was just... Put a bit of cardboard up.
Do you not have any friends, Jim?
You what?
Do you not have any friends?
I had plenty of friends, but they were all better at it than I was. Mike Hayward asked, we're just going to wrap up very quickly. Mike Hayward asked, when Burns gets brought up to The Hague, how will you defend him as character witnesses?
Do they have character witnesses?
At The Hague? I don't know what. They have a character witness for Slobodan and
I think if you're at The Hague...
Can you imagine?
You're in the headmaster's office, right? It's
you're maybe beyond character witnesses. Slobodan's a good guy.
Isn't The Hague just a fucking ceremony where
Slobodan makes a meat and cheese sandwich?
And also he's a pretty bad dude.
So we're not answering that in a technicality.
Yeah. Just like I'm going to get off on one.
MK Knight asks, how much power is too much? Could Simon bench Dave? Is Project Cars going to be all show and no go?
There's no such thing as too much power. You can never have too much power. You've got to believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. Yeah. Move forward, never look back.
Yeah.
I could bench press Dave, I'd like to think, and I don't care about Project Cars.
Right.
Could you bench press Dave after the big tasty he and I are about to have?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? You reckon you could bench press
both?
Dave? I reckon.
Well, you're eating big tasties.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. What a ridiculous thing to say.
Like, Simon lifted me once and that, and didn't, appear to be straining at all.
I've been to the gym, Simon. It's a terrifying sight. It is like a Resident Evil boss mid-metamorphosis.
Well, he goes to the gym and he's clanging and banging, etc.
Damn right.
Just lifting stuff. Just lifting stuff that should not be lifted by people.
Anyway, listen, Burns,
Maybe.
nobody cares what you think.
Fucking hell.
That is it. I'm out.
I'm
off
doing
to,
wrestling jokes.
I'm
I
off
didn't
to
mean
make the
that.
fucking Killinator and get a fucking BAFTA and get on stage and say, kill all games
I'm doing
journalists.
wrestling references to my favourite wrestler, The Rock, because he's everybody's favourite wrestler
dead
who
now.
isn't that into wrestling.
Yeah. He needs a hair transplant.
He's bald.
He looks a lot better, though, with hair.
Does he?
With
Yeah.
hair.
The Rock?
No,
But
he
very,
does.
no,
Not the pineapple head
Yeah,
he used
exactly.
to have.
Yeah,
No,
no.
not the weird felt head where it's just slightly too long and shiny, but just a little bit of almost like stubble. A bit of stubble, not because he's got it completely shaved, like
Yeah,
big.
I think he needs
It looks like
facial
an
hair.
egg.
Yeah,
it
without-
looks like a fucking egg.
Without facial hair, he doesn't like an
and
egg,
he's an
that's true.
attractive man.
Yeah,
I
he's
love you.
He's
I
a
love
very
you, The Rock.
attractive man.
I love
He
you.
is. I've read The Rock's autobiography.
He went to the number one on the New York Times bestsellers list
Purported,
forever.
But they all did at that point. That's when wrestling was so big, you could
I've read
release.
it. It's
Purportedly
fucking
an
rubbish.
auto-
It's terrible. And it's all lies.
There's
It's all
pictures of his
made up.
dad as well. His dad was massive as well. What was that about?
I don't know. I'm sure.
Test.
But,
Allegedly. Shit.
So I don't think Soul Man Rocky Johnson is listening to this. I think you'll be all right.
I love The Rock.
No, he wasn't on any sort of drugs.
Like the Attitude Era though. Fucking hell. Like
Yeah, I'd left actually. I just popped out for a little while. When I came
Love
back, it
it.
was terrible.
Burns watch the Montreal Screwjob when I'm out. Done. Missed the hottest period of wrestling ever. It's brilliant. Best story ever.
that's when I first got in, because I wasn't into it when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and then that's when I first got into it, and I was a bit older, a bit of a teenager and stuff, and kind of at the age where a lot of people, if you're an asshole, start going, yeah, it's fake. But like, I loved it, and then it got a bit rubbish, and then I never watched it, and then I got back into it when I moved down here because I was spending all day in a room with you,
That happens a lot, it would seem.
and it was like, shit, I better watch some fucking wrestling.
I got into it when I was like 5 years old and never gave up. I got into it to the point where it was so uncool. This is why the Attitude Era was so good. It was so uncool to like wrestling. You couldn't tell people.
Yeah,
At school, you couldn't tell people like professional wrestling, so they would beat the shit out of you. It was that uncool. So you just had to keep, do you like wrestling? No. Like Bret Hart keyring in your pocket. It's been a long journey.
Oh yeah. Anyway, last question. Well, no, actually, last but one question. Average Barton, was Burns always such a bastard?
So many questions of it. It's just mean.
What is his origin story?
Burns Origins. Filming it tomorrow.
Band's origins
He's just a guy.
would ruin the mistake.
That's true.
Would ruin the mistake.
On a train from Cambridgeshire. Victor Esan asks, out of the lot of you, who has the worst taste in genres?
You can't have a bad taste in genres,
Yeah, you
really.
can.
Well, no, but can you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to say clothes, then it's obviously Fippo, isn't it? Like,
But this is the point, though. Like, with a video game genre, like, say you hate RPGs, and I love RPGs. It's probably still an RPG that you like. Whereas if it was...
I hate fantasy RPGs.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. But if it was like clothes is not good either. But music, for example, you may hate rap music, but probably a rap song that you like. So there probably isn't a
Yeah,
rap
but
song that you like.
that rap song you like is probably by Blondie. You're probably an
No, I
idiot.
meant there isn't. If you really hate a musical genre, it's unlikely you'll like something. Whereas games are a bit more diverse. I don't think there's any genre that I hate. Not really. Like,
Hate is a very strong word.
I don't really think of it as being sort of into a genre. I mean, I know I like RPGs and shit, but I don't think I
but
would.
there's shooting games that are good.
Yeah, it's like,
Shmups that are good. Hate
I'd
that
probably
phrase.
say to somebody like, that in general, I'm not that into shooting games, but there's still plenty that I love.
Yeah, you get into, yeah, exactly.
It's just,
I don't think anyone-
I'm not into your Call of Duties or whatever, like the staple shooting games. But if there's ever a shooter that does something interesting, like I don't know, Spec Ops or whatever, yeah, I'm down with
I
that.
don't think there's any genre that I hate.
Oh dear.
No.
Unless
you could call the Souls games a genre, but they're not their own genre. That's ridiculous.
No.
So no. There you go. There's a bit of a damp squid to end the podcast.
There we go. Right, we've got the first of our Patreon backer guest appearances on the podcast.
Dun, 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 dun.
We recorded this a while back with Mr. Tom Bickmore, friend of VideoGamer Tom Bickmore.
Yep.
Ex-friend of VideoGamer.
Is that how the
was friend
podcast
of
is going to end, with that conversation? that I was on and don't remember what the hell I said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
This was about the time the order came out, wasn't it?
About the time the order came out, yeah. So there's a lot of order chat. So if you were missing chat about the order,
It's going to happen right now for you.
there's a chance to revisit last month.
Yeah.
Also, competition. Dave will be joining us after that, because after that we'll be behind the Patreon wall. So if you are listening to the extended version, stick around until after.
I'm going. So
The
Tom's tagging out, Dave's
say
tagging
goodbye.
in.
Yeah, I need a wee, so I'm going to also be leaving, but I don't think it will affect anything.
As you say, if you are listening to the extended version, stick around till after the outro music, and Tom will be swapped out by Dave.
Tom, is your full name Thomas or you are Tom?
I'm just Tom.
That's
Tom.
it. No Bickmore. Just Tom. I am Tom.
Did you have a school nickname?
I didn't have any friends to give me nicknames.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't have any friends at school. Just got bullied all the time.
Yeah, I had Bundle Scammell for no reason, Dave. It's horrible.
I had Punch Miller in the arm.
I had run away from Tom.
Run away from
That sounds awesome. I'd
Yeah.
much rather that.
So like,
Why?
as soon as they see me, they'd run away.
I didn't get any of this. How come the fat guy in the room was the fucking most popular one at school?
What?
What?
I'm the fat guy. It stands to reason that I should have been the one who got the worst time at school.
Were you popular
No.
at school?
Yeah.
That's probably like, fuck you all.
Yeah, but chubby and ginger, I had no hope.
I'm not fucking ginger.
Not me.
All right.
Tom Bickmore, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think it matters in school. I think they just pick up on anything and run with it. You could be whatever you know.
Right. This is the special backer bit of the podcast. It's not the special backer extra bit.
It's in the real
special-
podcast, yeah.
It's in the real podcast. The real podcast.
The real podcast.
The other one's not real. It's
Let's
just
hear
a
it
joke.
for the real comptroller.
We just upload a blank audio file every week, and all the other backers just laugh their asses off.
Yeah.
This is the special bit because
I'm so excited.
We've got a backer, we've got a patron on.
Special
He's in the
guest.
room.
He's in the room with us. He's come down to see us in Croydon, Mr. Tom Bickmore.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right.
Now, you were a former/current friend of VideoGamer.com.
I don't know what I am anymore.
Well,
You're a friend. You're a friend of anyone is a patron is a friend of ours. A friend of need
I've been
is a friend
reinstated.
indeed.
Because you did an internship here, about a year ago now?
About 8 months, yeah.
8 months
Was it
ago.
really that long ago? Oh, I'm gonna be dead
End of
soon.
June, week after E3.
Fuck.
Everyone
Oh,
was
God,
dead.
E3's nearly here, Miller.
No, I'm busy.
it's like
We're going to have to share a room again. Remember
That was alright. Actually, that was
no,
fine.
I had terrible diarrhea.
Yeah, but you were. I'd say you did. It's not a lie. But
I felt so bad for you, Miller.
No, not at all.
You were
You were
there eating
fine.
your meal, your pizza or something like that. And I was there shitting my guts out. Unbelievable.
that's Dave.
But that's about me.
it was yours.
What about you?
I don't want to know about this.
So is that corrupt that Tom once did an internship with us?
How is that corrupt?
Why is that corrupt? Unless he
It's a-
promotes a game and then we give it a 10.
You know what people are like.
No, I
Everything's
think it's
corrupt.
corrupt. You know
isn't it?
what? Even if it is corrupt, fuck you.
Now that you've said
That's
it, they're
right.
going to say it's corrupt.
It's not
Hey,
corrupt.
You're a patron.
It's so
Yeah.
Pay
corrupt.
good money for this.
So corrupt to have contact with other people.
Yeah, but Tom Bickmore's paid to be in this room.
Yeah,
Paid the big
exactly.
bucks.
A lot of money
That's pretty
Yeah.
corrupt.
for a student.
Yeah. Right. There's another thing as well. Tom's been talking about this like for the whole week
Which
prior
Tom?
to you coming in.
I'm confused.
Sorry, Big Tom. The editor.
Ori.
Big Tom.
Theory. Such a shambles.
Yeah. Tom Ori, editor-in-chief Tom Ori, keeps mentioning that apparently you were in the raid too. And
Oh,
he's like-
yeah.
Not quite.
He's like, keep pressing him on that.
Yeah, I popped for this. What was that about?
So this was last year. It was I'm on the bonus features. So there was there's a special screening,
Right.
a special sort of premiere screening where they did a Q&A with the director.
Right.
And they had
And you were
cameras
the
in there.
director.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This anecdote's taking a nosedive. Right?
Yeah.
Just carry on.
Well, the only thing is like my dad asked a question and then we're there, bang on the screen.
Is it not actually in the film?
No. I never said I was in the film. This is ridiculous.
This has come from
I
Tom
had so
Ori.
many questions about the
I
Raid 2
thought
and
you
its
were there
production.
doing some sort of kung fu.
Tom Ori does have a habit of
Exaggerating.
getting things slightly wrong,
Yeah, that's it.
deliberately.
He winds you up. Oh, well, we all thought you were in the Raid 2.
Because this whole time he was like, yeah, he's in the raid. There's a shot of him when he kicks a guy's head off, and we were like, fuck Bickmore. So yeah, totally.
Because I had a friend that was in The World Is Not Enough. Oh yeah, he bought a scooter with his with the money he got paid for that.
I know someone that was in Skyfall and the second Thor movie. There we go.
Really?
Yeah, he's just an extra. Didn't do anything big.
Yeah, this guy.
As we're playing this game, I thought we'd throw it in.
Do you remember the fencing scene in The World Is Not Enough?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was Madonna
it's awful. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the fencers.
Is he Madonna? He was Madonna. Madonna, played by Dave Scammell's mate.
Yeah, that'd have been good, wouldn't it?
There you go. Well, I'm sorry you weren't in the raid, Bickmore, but you know that's such
Do
his
you have
life.
any other claims to
I feel
fame?
we have to apologise now that you weren't in the raid. Were you in the raid too?
No.
For fuck's sake.
This was the raid 2. Get with it, Jim.
Was it? Was it the raid 2?
Yeah, it's the Q&A with the director. His dad
The
asked
raid
a question.
two.
at the
Same
raid 2.
fucking director. How am I meant to know? It's the same guy who made both films, Dave.
He said raid 2.
All right, I forgot. All
Did you
right,
go down the
calm
red carpet and everything?
I did for Gravity.
What?
What,
You were in
joke?
Gravity
Go on,
as
you
well.
Did you play George Clooney?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock.
Did you play?
There-
You played George Clooney as his role in Gravity.
Somewhere on the internet, there is a video interview with Sandra Bullock that me and my dad walk across behind on. Because when we went
So
to
you're
the
just
special
like a
premiere.
troller of premieres,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
That's
it was
good.
my dad just gets to go to things because he's weird.
Can we green screen
This
Tom
is meant-
into
yeah,
Gravity?
the thumbnail for this is going to be
Tom and
something
Gravity,
special.
that's
Fucking.
Just Sandra Bullock
Do you
having a
remember-
breakdown in space.
You're going to be
and
standing
floating
on the
by.
raft at the end of Titanic and everything.
Do you remember when Call of Duty would do their red carpet premieres in Leicester Square? That was awful.
Actually, I'll tell you
That's
what.
so embarrassing.
Modern Warfare 2's one was actually...
That's one I went to. That's the one
Oh,
I
you
went
didn't
to.
like that
But
one?
they made us walk the red carpet, and you could hear all these people
As an
going.
event, I thought it was quite impressive.
I agree. The scale of it was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy, walking that car and going, "Who's that? Who's that?"
Oh, no, yeah,
I wanted to
that-
go, "I'm no one. All right, fuck off."
Yeah.
It's just like, no, just let me go in the back. They wouldn't let me go in the back.
They all
Just
kept
sit on the
thinking you were Vin
Um,
Diesel. That's the problem.
Vernon Kay, wasn't
Vernon
it?
Kay.
Yeah, because Vernon Kay, I bumped to him. I bet into him in the toilets. And he didn't hold the door open for me.
Oh.
Motherfucker.
That's
It's like when
like
Phil
Phil
Spencer
Spencer.
banging into
Yeah.
me, yeah. So there you
Wow.
go, there's a little Vernon Kay fact for
Does
you
Phil
there.
Spencer hold the door open for you? Does he?
No.
No. See, doesn't. hold the door
Unbelievable.
open.
No manners whatsoever.
You know that story Burns always tells about the time he touched Michael Pachter?
Excuse me.
I don't know this story.
Not in the
No, I
toilet.
just well, let's just say, you know what Burns is? He's like, yeah, Michael Pachter touched him on an escalator. I was like, on an escalator.
What?
It looks a bit
Sounds
public.
like someone sexually harassed
It's
Michael
just literally
Pachter.
just their hands like made contact with the escalator at the same time and made contact. I think this is a story, and they just sort of had a wee.
You haven't dreamt this. in
No,
your-
no. Burns told me this. You know what he's like. with
Whether
the
Burns
stories.
dreamt it or not, though, is a whole different case entirely.
But he's not dreaming about fucking plane crashes. That is weird.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I don't
for
like that.
Filled
every
with games
morning.
journalists.
Think he needs to
Every
see a
morning,
doctor.
like for the past, for the past 3 months, he's been saying to me, "Yeah, I had a dream about a plane crash last night."
You never dreamt about Pact or anything, Tom.
No.
No.
Would you like to dream about Pachter?
I dream of
God,
Pachter.
Yeah.
You just got a script Pachter.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Pachter is also a creation of mine, as well as being a real human being with thoughts and emotions. But the real Pachter is a fan of the creation of mine. So if
you
we're talking
go.
about claims to fame, that's mine. And
There
it's
you
It's
go.
pretty good.
You know,
it's
that's,
pretty good.
it is a pretty good one. But
Do we have to ask Bickmore what he's been playing and stuff like that? Is
Oh,
that the way
shit,
this
yeah.
works?
What have you been
I don't know.
playing?
Is that how this works? I'm just
dunno.
guessing.
You've been
Well.
playing the order, because by the time this goes out, you'll be able to say that.
Yeah.
That's true,
As long as
yeah.
we just don't say what the date is today.
Yeah, no one will know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
So,
I mean, by the time you say this, everyone will be past the order and be like, "Yeah, well, we know it was crap."
I agree entirely.
So good.
I agree entirely with the score that Steve has given it.
Which, for reference, is a 6.
Well, is it?
Oh, I hope he
Shush now.
sticks to his guns now. If he changes, if he does a Steve Burns classic change score tactic.
It'll
He's
go
not
out to
going to
3.
change.
Yeah.
What happened?
I got mad.
He's not easy. He wouldn't change it up, though, would he?
No, he wouldn't.
It
No.
doesn't- it
It's going to go
doesn't-
up. It's going to go down.
It doesn't deserve a fucking 7. Like,
I've
definitely
left
not.
it. I left it on in the other room.
How long did you spend with it? An hour, max?
2 hours?
Oh, so you've done half the game. That's good. It's true. That's what they say.
It's true.
You know that game has 16 chapters.
How long's a chapter? Like 20
16
minutes?
chapters.
Really?
But you're walking along, like, you're doing a level, and then, you take 5 steps, you're on chapter 7.
And you'd be like that.
5 steps later.
Pointless.
Chapter 8.
Why does it have chapters?
Chapter 8, the man reaches the building. It's like, oh, shit. Yeah.
Why does it have chapters? What does that bring to the game? Like, what kind of
bring anything?
No,
it's
stupid.
it's a nonsense, as everyone will know by now.
The thing is, by the time
it's a
you hear
nonsense waste of
this,
time.
it's probably gone really cheap, and you've bought it, and you're going,
Probably.
actually, you know what?
Knowing me.
I'm quite liking it now.
How much are we talking? I'd buy it for 20 quid.
I'd buy it for 20.
I think 20 quid would be a fair price for a visual treat that doesn't do much else. I'd be happy with
20
that.
quid sounds
I
good.
think 20 quid for the eye candy, yeah.
It won't be that for ages.
It's got nothing else going for it, though.
No,
Yeah.
it was a shooter without any shooting.
It looks really nice. But I remember Steve saying, I don't know if he put this into the review in the end or not, but he said like it looks like a period drama, but it's also got the glacial pace of a period drama. as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So it's Downton Abbey with guns
I said to
that
Tom
they never use.
while he was
Oh,
playing it,
jeez.
it's sort of, my mum would love this.
Yeah.
She'd watch this.
It's like Coronation Street.
But that's the other thing, is it's more. It's more. I mean, you've played 2 hours, right, Tom? And
Yeah.
it's, from what I can gather, it's more of a interactive cutscene than a game, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you got from it?
Yeah, the first 10 minutes is just button prompts and drowning.
Yeah.
Jeez, sounds a bit intense.
Oh yeah, it's like even when in that first sequence, even when it actually gives you control of the character, for the first time it gives you that control, it only lasts for about 3 seconds, but it gives you enough control to just push forward on the analog stick and make him trip over, and then he gets up, and then it's a cutscene QTE again. It's a very badly designed game.
Do you think they know this? Do they realise this? Or do you think they genuinely think they've created something masterful?
I think they know, and I think once you've spent like millions of dollars developing something and you get to this point, you must be like,
But what were they trying to achieve?
shit.
That's what I don't get. Like, what
But I
was
think
the
you probably
goal?
get to a point where you fool yourself even, where you maybe, you believe in it so much, because you'd be passionate about your own thing if you spent that long on it. And you'd probably excuse some of the problems that
Or
other
overlook
people
them.
won't.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
There's a bit in, I think it's like the first or the second chapter, where
Yeah.
you're walking down a street and you find like a drinks flask, and you can pick it up and spin it around and have a look at it.
L.A. Noire.
LA Noire, exactly. But I was thinking it's pretty much just like a tech demo.
Yeah.
Because it's just showing off.
because you can't do anything.
No.
90% of the objects you actually pick up,
It's just
you
to
don't
have a look
any
at
further
it.
interaction with them. They're not there for any reason. It's just, I'll have a look at this vase.
It's a shiny metal object.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look good?
Going back
It's
briefly
just-
to what you just said, Miller, do they know? I think something Naughty Dog said quite recently was that they don't know how good their game is going to be until like the last 2 or 3 months before it's out. Once it all
Really?
starts coming together, they start polishing it up. That must be tough. Like, if that's
what
true,
if you, like you
like-
take a misstep or something?
exactly, and by then it's too late.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do we fix that up?
It's much better to like to be in an environment like ours at VideoGamer where we know everything we make is terrible. So there's no pressure.
And that was the aim to begin with. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we've done it, guys.
Exactly.
Good work.
When somebody
bonus.
tells you it's terrible, you're just like,
Yeah,
well, that's the
that's a
joke.
compliment.
Yeah.
Well, if that is the case, and I guess that's how we get to, you have this vision, but you get to these last 3 months, go, shit, we did not hit it at all, and that's it. We've done it now. We've put like the
Or
top on the box.
Maybe that's when when these delays happen. Maybe it's that point where they go, oh well, maybe we need to fix that bit up because that hasn't come together as well as we wanted to. That's the point when it all starts moving a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe we should do like a Louis Theroux inside games development.
We should definitely do that regardless. We should get Louis Theroux on it.
Yeah,
Get him, and we
Fuck
should do it
Louis
with
Theroux.
him.
We'll just have
Can you
Dave
pretend to
fill
be
in
Louis
Louis
Theroux?
Theroux.
Oh, that's fine.
I can do that. He would do it before I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be Louis Theroux before you go?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Got some
Good
time.
transformation.
We'll go down to Ready at Dawn. I don't know where they are. Santa Monica or something, probably.
We'll go down.
Probably
Fly
somewhere
over.
very far
Louis
away.
Theroux loves going to America for stuff like this. He'd well be up for it. It's
I'm amazed he's never done a video game thing. I thought that would be right on his list to...
not really so mainstream, is it? I
He did
wouldn't have thought.
wrestling.
He will now.
It's true.
He will now that video games have basically exposed the horrible problems of online abuse. He will now.
Possibly.
You'll find these people and he'll be like, so why'd you act like a dick on the internet? And they'll be like, because of the fucking New World Order and not wrestling, Simon.
Wolfenstein.
I was going to say Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. What do you think of Wolfenstein, Bickmore?
I loved Wolfenstein.
Oh, here we
shit.
go.
Right, I'll go home.
No. Go, fight. Fight your cause.
It was the first game I played on my PS4. I got it with my PS4.
You see.
It's Rise syndrome again.
Exactly. I think you...
I didn't
you-
like Rise.
But was it the first game you played on your Xbox One?
Because I played it here last year. Yeah, it was the first thing I played on an Xbox One.
All right, my theory's gone.
No, it still counts. I don't think you'd like Wolfenstein as much if you played it today. I think anybody would. I think anyone started Wolfenstein today.
Where'd you bring it up? I played it.
Do you think
just
it was a lot of
yesterday.
people's first next-gen game?
Yeah, maybe.
Might have been. Came out at the right time for it when, sales had picked up on the new consoles.
Yeah,
and stuff.
it was released it was well paced. What did you think when you played it yesterday, Dave?
I was in one of the hub bits.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be bothered to go any further.
There you go.
So after about 10 minutes,
I stand by.
Turn it off.
I played like the first 3 hours, and I stand by Simon's 6 out of 10.
What makes it so
Absolutely.
good, though?
Shooting dudes.
Shooting dudes.
Shooting
you can do that
dudes.
in a lot of things.
I'm a child. I like shooting dudes.
You can do that in the order sometimes.
Yeah, when it's not busy trying to tell you a
Tom,
crap
legally, you are not a
story.
child anymore. You have to get this in your head, I think. You've reached that age where legally they would
How
not
old are you?
recognise you as a child.
What would you give Wolfenstein: The New Order on the Tom Bickmore review scale?
Well, I can't give another game a 6, so I have to give it a 7.
You would give it 7.
So you'd say it was great.
That's only 1 point higher than me.
Hang on.
So I question your theories.
It's a whole 10%.
That's true. I don't know. I just think I've said this a million times, but it's just nothing. It's just empty. It's just shallow. It's hollow.
People loved
but
it.
it's fun. I enjoyed what I got to do, which was shoot dudes.
Yeah. No, I just didn't enjoy the shooting as much as everyone else. Although that's where the points came from for me. It got a 6 out of 10 because the shooting was good. It was everything else where... Because you start at 0, right? Start at 0 and build up. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Is that the way you do it? Maybe.
I
Start
don't
at
know, really.
5.
I never really have...
Never thought about
it. Is there a thought process that
Just
goes
roll a
into
dice. Just roll a dice out. 6 out of 10. Dice said so. I mean, a lot of people do like it, so I understand. It's just for me, it was... Yeah, it just... I don't know. I forgot about it as soon as I'd finished it. But Will, you've got good company. A lot of people enjoy.
A lot of people like that game.
It was a game of the year. A lot of people.
I wouldn't call it that.
No? What was yours?
Thanks, Dave.
That's all right. You got all the time in the world. Jim can cut all this out.
Yeah. Game of last year.
Cheers, Dave.
Mine was Rambo the video game. That's right.
Rambo.
So good.
What was your
So
game
good.
of 2014?
Still got that jacket.
Oh no!
Disgusted. You can't.
I can't think of a favourite game of the year.
GT, what came out last year?
I'm struggling now as
Mario
well.
Kart 8, that was good.
I
That
can't
was a
think
good
of one,
game.
actually. I think 2014 was a terrible year for video games.
I do think it was
In
poor,
general.
but there was Mario Kart 8 that was
Titanfall,
awesome.
South Park.
Advanced Warfare was good, you know.
Advanced Warfare was good.
South Park was good too.
Oh,
Dark
Dragon
Souls
Age
2
Inquisition.
last year.
I've
Yeah.
literally...
I like Dark
we've
Souls
already
2.
done this. We've already said this last year on it. I mean, you weren't here at the time, Simon, but when we did our Game of the Year stuff,
What did we say?
I said Dragon Age Inquisition, and I've just remembered that's a game that exists. We did a video about it yesterday, Simon.
I've got it, and I just haven't gone back to it.
I just wouldn't give it. What do you think of Dragon Age?
I don't like it as much as I've liked the other two.
Oh, you like Dragon Age 2?
I didn't mind Dragon Age 2, and at least I went back and finished it.
I think I thought it was better than Dragon Age 2, but Dragon Age 2 just felt like such a massive disappointment. Like, I think maybe if you look back, it's a game that is a lot better in hindsight. That rare
And without the
example of a
Dragon Age game, if you took the name off it, I think it'd be a much better game.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of things about it that aren't necessarily terrible decisions. They just seemed terrible compared to, or like people complained that it all took place in the one city. Well, it's like that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just because the game before it took place on a continent.
Yeah, it always felt like you're progressing and going somewhere else.
But
This one felt very
I think time will be kind to Dragon Age 2. I already see a lot of people claiming that it's the best one, which is shite, which is bollocks. It isn't. But you know,
Dragon Age Origins is so far above and beyond the other two games for me.
Yeah.
Like it's not even in the same category.
Still below Mass Effect, though.
I prefer Dragon Age Origins.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
No. But that's what I had more fun with. So it's you know.
Yeah. I mean,
I love Mass Effect 2. I think it's wonderful.
I mean, Mass
but
Effect's just Dragon Age with guns in it.
yeah, I think Dragon Age Origins for me it came along at the right time. I was looking for a game like that, and then it existed, so it kind of found a place in my heart. Wow. And my Xbox 360 died halfway through to Mass Effect 2, so that kind of tainted my experience.
I never liked
Ringed.
Mass Effect 2.
How can you like Mass Effect but not Mass Effect 2? It's the best one.
I like the first one.
why? But what?
I
what do you
totally
prefer about
get
the first
that.
one?
I totally get that.
Do
because
you?
In the second one, they stripped out all the stuff about Mass Effect that made the Mass Effect universe feel grand and big.
I agree with that, but then it did get rid of the stuff like the Mako and all that nonsense.
I love that.
I love the Mako.
Going exploring all the planets. I did that. All the side quests.
I thought it felt a bit more grand and epic in the second one.
Oh,
than
yeah,
the
the
first
ending was
one. The third
incredible.
one especially.
Third one I love.
The second
I think it's really good.
The
Yeah, I do.
second one, you can't just go to a planet in a system and plonk the Mako down and explore it.
But the Mako stuff was shit.
It was shit. It wasn't shit.
It was
It wasn't
rubbish.
shit. It was categorically, right? People who
You
think
drive along
folk who
empty
think the
environments.
Mako was shit couldn't drive it properly.
There you go.
That's
All
my
I remember is that terrible thing that big was some boss popped out of a hole and had to kill it in the Mako, and it wasn't
Thresher
fun.
Maw.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But the ending of Mass Effect 2, and I agree, Mass Effect 3 is a good game. It just ends poorly because it doesn't know how to end. But
Yeah.
who cares? It's the journey, not the
I
destination.
mean, how do you end that trilogy? How do you end that?
I remember I saw a tweet from someone. It was a freelancer. I'm really sorry, I can't remember your name.
Yeah.
But they tweeted something like, how do you want... Maybe it was an article they did. It's like, how did you want Mass Effect to end? With Commander Shepard, like, flying towards the Reapers as Slayer played. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I wanted Mass Effect to end. Raining blood playing as Mass Effect, as Commander Shepard just, like, you know, kick the shit out of Reapers.
Everyone's like, you've answered your own question there, mate.
I would love that. That'd be brilliant. But alas, we didn't get it. Instead, we got Ghost Child. But I still think Mass Effect 3 was all right.
Yeah, I think they ended it the only way they could have ended it, because I've never heard a decent alternative.
Well, what's that one that they were always going to do? The Dark Energy. They just ditched that halfway through.
Dark End? I don't know about that.
It's still all in Mass Effect 3. It's like there's stuff about how the Reapers were made by Dark Energy.
Yeah.
And then they never finished writing it. And so it was just abandoned. And
That sounds like BioWare.
Exactly. We got a great idea, but we don't have the time to do it. Just leave it. Yeah, well.
Half of Dragon Age Inquisition. I love Dragon Age Inquisition, but a lot of it is just like
The first 50%
we
terrible.
haven't got enough content in this game. Let's put a load of MMO shite in it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
That's what they're like.
I've spattered my opinions about Dragon Age enough. I think it's one of the most disappointing franchises in history, Dragon Age.
Really?
Because I think they had so much
Even though
potential.
it's one of your favourite games ever.
Yeah, but that's the
Part
thing.
of
I
it.
think the first one is so good, but the last two are just not Dragon Age games. Like
Really?
it's like a lie. It's
Yeah.
like they tricked you all with Origins, and then every time they change up what that game is. Every game.
I think if you look at the trilogy so far as a whole, I think it does stand up. Even though Origins, I totally agree, is by far the best game out of the three. I love the way they all reference each other. How like all the events tied together. There's a real good sense of continuity. The world building is incredible. Inquisition really added a lot to the lore. I think they all stand up taken as a whole. Like Dragon Age 2. I wasn't expecting the events of Dragon Age 2 to be so important.
Oh yeah,
in fact,
massively.
Inquisition made me appreciate Dragon Age 2 more. Because I remembered stuff, because it kept referencing stuff that happened in Dragon Age 2. And I was
You're
like,
like, oh yeah, I did
holy
that.
shit,
Yeah.
that's quite cool. I never thought Dragon Age 2 was cool when I played it. So,
No, that's true.
Anyway,
Do you know what I learned today? Tom
What?
taught me this.
what?
Venice isn't a country.
No,
Bit
it's
more
the
taught you that
city.
today.
The city.
It's, do you know what
I
country
thought it
it's
was an
in? Dave?
underwater country.
Like Atlantis. There you go.
You've been watching too much Sequest DSV. Is that
Well, Waterworld, that happened, didn't it? Was that what it's called? Waterworld.
Waterworld didn't happen.
It didn't not in real life. It bombed at the box office.
Yeah.
You are?
With Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Is he dead now?
No, he's still alive. He made a film the other day.
Oh, it was Patrick Swayze, wasn't it? At the time? I always
He
get those
died, yeah.
confused.
Yeah, no, he's dead.
Were they both Robin Hood at one point?
No, Kevin Costner was Robin Hood. I don't think Patrick Swayze was in Dirty Dancing.
Patrick Swayze was never Robin Hood.
Why am I getting confused
Patrick
with them
Swayze
then?
was never Superman's dad.
Why would there be a crossover there? Why would I consider them the
Maybe
same
they're in the
person?
same film.
I have no idea.
you probably dreamt it.
Maybe they were both in the Raid too, with Bickmore.
He was Bickmore's dad. Is Kevin Costner your dad?
Don't tell people.
All right, that would have been a good look back. But anyway,
Tom Costner.
I think we better wrap it up. You've had almost 25 minutes, Bickmore.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything else before you...
You go on.
This is your platform. This is your moment.
Yeah, you can
like
say
Go
Go
on,
Margaret
just do
Cutchin.
it. Just sing. Say something.
You've bunged us
Do
some
something.
cash. You can
It's-
say
It's
whatever
the video
you
game
want.
podcast. You can literally
within
say or do
reason.
whatever you want.
As long as you don't libel anyone.
While I'm here, I've definitely got to say thank you to someone. I've got to definitely say thank you to Yellow Sapphire, friend of VideoGamer.
Yellow Sapphire.
Oh, we love Yellow Sapphire.
That's, yeah. We know Yellow Sapphire.
Yeah, Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's,
she's lovely.
Yeah, she's been good to me the last.
Brad's trying to
couple of
screw her
months.
over.
Yeah.
Oh, playing that fucking game.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
what's it
Neptune's
called?
fucking
Neptune's
pride.
Pride.
That's
that's
it.
it.
Neptune's Pride.
Oh, fucking hell. No, he doesn't. No, fuck you, Miller.
That's it.
He said it with his eyes.
Going home.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to Yellow Sapphire. I want to say thanks to Yellow Sapphire because she's very nice. pillar of the community, pillar of the video gamer community.
Yeah.
Anyway,
As is Tom Bickmore.
As is Tom
I
Bickmore.
still haven't worked out whether you are a Thomas or a Tom. But it does. At this stage, it doesn't matter.
former and current friend of video gamer Tom
Exactly.
Bickmore, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We all going to say bye?
Bye bye.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.